Well, I'm saying I could put the article.
Yo, yo, yo. What's happening? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? Back at y'all once again. You know what I mean? We got the weigh in. You know what I mean? We're going to introduce the contenders. You know what I mean? We've been talking about this free will thing for a little minute. I'm outside of, my mic sounding good, everybody?
You
My
sound
mic
your
straight?
mic sounds nice. 1 2 1 2.
Okay. You know what I mean? We've been talking about this free will thing for a minute. So Brad said, hey, man, y'all bull essing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all bluffing. Y'all need to go ahead and put it on the big stage, man, and get it in real quick. So, I told him, I said, nah, man, I say, man, I volunteer Marcus to go against Logic, my man's Logic over here. They're gonna both state their stance in the matter. You know what I mean? But before we do all that, you know what I mean, I'm gonna introduce everybody, man. What's happening with your brass, man? What's going on, bro?
Man, everything is good. I tell people all the time, it's always a great day to be out here teaching the people, educating the people. Um, they never know really what goes on. This will be a peek into the conversations that we have in the Discord. We are very multi-talented, uh, and we have a lot of different people. We have political scientists, social sciences, hard sciences, soft sciences, whatever you want to cover. We have a lot of discussions. In this particular discussion of free will or no free will has become a hot topic that we discuss amongst ourselves. So we figure we give you just a sneak peek into the things that we talk about, the things that are important to us, and get an idea of where y'all are at. So we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna send this over to Logic, who stands on one side of the argument, Marcus, who stands on the other side of the argument. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and then we're gonna give y'all a sneak peek. This is a unfiltered conversation. It's just a weigh in for a future debate. And Logic,
Yo,
tell
yo.
everybody, just give a little intro as to who you are, where you stand. We're not gonna present any sources just yet, but just give us
Okay.
who you are, where you stand, and move forward.
What's up, y'all? I'm Logic, man. Pseudo killer in the making. Been with the army for a little while. Definitely been loyal to Ump. I like his path and what he's trying to accomplish on YouTube. So that I get behind him, I support him. I definitely show him love. But I'm coming from the thought camp, right? That compatibilism seems to offer a better explanation for our everyday experiences than determinism does. And that's the short version. I don't know if you wanted some more right off the bat, but just to have basically where I'm standing on the whole concept of compatibilism versus determinism.
Okay, no, that's a good stance. That's a good stance. Remember, we got, this is just a weigh in. Eventually we'll get y'all nose to nose at each other. But for now, just want to get your stance. So you stand on compatibilism. And did you drop that source in the back chat? We'll get into that. Marcus,
Yo.
what's going on, bro? I know you're a little bit under weather. Just hang in there with us and let us know if we need to take a break or anything like that. But brother Marcus, pseudo killer official, um, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Probably the smartest man in that Discord, and
Far
somebody
from it.
I
Far from
nah.
it.
All right, listen, man. Don't Kanye my Grammy speech on you right now, bro. The literally someone I look forward to his posts to see what he got to say, and on free will or lack of free will, literally, um, is leading the discussion along with a couple other people in the chat. So introduce yourself, Marcus, and then we'll move forward.
Yeah, it's Chilawambe. You always forget that. I'm coming from the point of objective truth versus subjective reality. I'm a determinist. Hard determinist is the best word for it. I'm not going to concern myself with maybe how much what you feel like, but rather what the science says is actually happening. But inside of that, I don't want to discount a person's quail, right? Their own personal experiences. I don't want to discount the fact that you may like apple pie, but I'm going to set aside a list of factors that may lead to you enjoying apple pie more than other people. So in reality, I'm saying that though you may feel like you're making a decision solely based on your perceptions, I'm saying that there's a lot of influences into that. And those influences are dictating and changing, leading to no free will. As we know free will today, I want to make that clear. I'm basing it on what we think free will is, based on what the scientific information say, and how they cannot be both true. They cannot both exist at the same time. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate you, brother Marcus. We're gonna get right over to Mr. Armstrong. You're in the building. Go ahead and introduce and tell them why you're actually in the building today with us.
Good evening, my brothers on the panel. Good evening to all the people out there and on the YouTube streets. I'm here just to be a judge of this thing and to ask these two smart brothers some questions. It's going to be a real good conversation. Y'all in for a real treat. They be having some serious conversations in that Discord. And so y'all about to get a taste of it. So I'm just here just to judge it and, to ask some questions on it. That's it.
Okay, peace to you, Mr. Armstrong. I appreciate you. We're going to have, we're still mulling over the format, but you're definitely going to be one of the judges plus fact checkers. We're not doing any other kind of weird stuff where you can just say all the alphabet with no sources whatsoever. With the pseudo killers, you die at your source or you live at your source, and you source up or shut up. So in this particular debate, you're going to have to present sources, and he'll be one of the people that takes care of it. But we got the birthday girl, pseudo killer official, lady killer official, Juju in the building, Grace in the panel. What's up, Juju?
Just chilling. You already know what it is. Like, this is the type of conversations that actually need to be had more in this community. Why? Because not only is it dealing with cutting edge science, meaning we are at the table, like we have a seat at what's currently transpiring in the scientific community, and we can, witness and see it. But also, these are the type of conversations that are actually beneficial to our own personal lives overall. And if we're going to spend our time having conversations, then why not let it be those that will lend the necessary tools for us to be engaged and be able to solve problems. And yeah,
I agree.
I dock my yacht.
Yeah,
So
I agree,
now,
sis.
no, we're going to go back to you, Ken. Introduce yourself too,
Yeah.
bro. Introduce yourself too.
Oh man, it's the one and only, man. You know what I'm saying? Kent Logan in the building. You know what I mean? I ain't really had nothing put together for that. But I agree with Jew, man. The other conversations was cool. You know what I mean? We do those, and we are very multi I guess what you call it. We talk on different subjects.
Disciplinary,
in the pseudo.
multidisciplinary.
Yeah, we speak on a bunch of different things, so that's how diverse the group is, and that's why it's good to have teams because you can deal with more than one subject and you can broaden your wings, so to say. You know what I'm saying? We can broaden the audience. We can, if you want some Egypt, we got some Egypt. If you want some evolution, we got that. You want some space and astronomy, we got that. You want some brain, we got that. We got everything you need. One-stop shop. You feel me? So that's what makes
Hey,
us such a
there
unique
you go.
a set of people. As far as hold on a second. As far as the conversation goes, I appreciate this particular conversation because it actually helps you to understand your fellow human. You know what I'm saying? Like the brain conversations we have, it helps you to understand the people that you're dealing with, even in your own house, right? So when we say, whether or not a person has free will or not, it also helps you to look at, people that might have offended you or people that might have I don't know, might things that you might have done that you haven't forgiven yourself for, or things that you feel proud of, but maybe you shouldn't feel so proud because maybe you just got lucky. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the whole free will, no free will thing becomes a little um what's the word? Controversial because now you're talking about who to put blame on what, who earned this and who earned that, and whether or not you should give yourself praise or whether or not you should give yourself blame for certain situations. When if you don't have free will, how can you do that? If you do have free will, then it is what it is, right? So I enjoy the conversation, man. I enjoy diving into those things to make us dig deeper into ourselves and shit. That's where I'm at with it, man. These are my types of conversations. This is where I like to thrive at. But I don't want to hog the mic. So we gonna just. Oh, matter of fact, let's shout out the chat, man. You know what I mean? Miss Lisa, I see you in there. Miss Tiffany, Miss Proper TT. I don't know who the hell that is, but hey, I'd like to meet you. Miss Tuck Mayat, I see you, bro. Lakeisha Dunn. Sosa in the building, man. Where you at, bro? You supposed to be on the panel with us. You know what I mean? Omar Reed, we see you, bro. Uh, who else in there, man? Jody Breeze, uh, and more to come. Mississippi Mud, we see you, bro. Chef, I see you, big dog. DeMar Milton. Yeah, man. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. I see you over there with the crying baby, Marcus. What's that about, man? What's the crying baby about, man?
Entirely too many people in this community cry all the time. Shoot
Oh,
shots
no,
and
sir.
hate when they ricochet back at you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's just entirely too much. I can't take it.
You are never not kicked door, Kent. Never. You never.
Nah, man. We
off.
we gotta. You know what I mean? We gotta flow into it every now and then. You know what I mean? I see Logic on the scene with the purple hoodie. He mean business. You know what I'm saying? He ready.
I think that's
I'm with.
lavender.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, you muted, brother. You can't hear nothing you saying, man.
And so no, it's definitely purple.
Mm-hmm.
See, because your brain, Brass, can't see what my brain see purple. Your brain see, you know what I mean? You see how okay. So let's go ahead and get it. What we gonna kick this off at, man? First, we need a working definition of free will, so that we'll know what what y'all are debating, what y'all are in a disagreement on.
And do me a favor, Kent. There's gonna be a lot of questions in the chat. I don't want to, for this particular conversation, I don't want a lot of the questions to pass, even if we could pause and just address them. Somebody already asked one question, and then we're going to get into these working definitions in a second. There was a question about, is this I believe they said is this a religious conversation? I want to be clear.
That's a good question. So that would be something I would. Hold on.
Hell no.
Do you see?
Because you got to think. You have to think.
Hold on.
Right?
One mic. Go ahead.
You have to think. So is it a religious conversation? So I'm gonna tell y'all like this, right? And I'm gonna ask both of the brothers. I don't think neither one of them are religious, but we can ask them, let them speak for themselves. The
So
first
the
time
actual
I heard,
question. Hold on, Kent.
Huh?
The actual question is: are y'all talking about from a religious perspective or in reality? That's the exact question.
We're talking about reality. Any PK conversations are always dealing with reality, right? So when we say, do we have free will? I think everybody feels like they have free, whether you're an atheist, whether you're religious, and whether you just don't even know what the fuck going on. Like you think, you feel, and you know that you have free will, right? I don't think it matters what type of conversation it would be. So I'm gonna just tell you, when I first heard about free will was in the church, because, and I'm gonna give y'all a story. So I bought the book Determinism, right, Mark? I went to Barnes and Nobles, got the book, got to the cash register. The lady read the book. It was by Robert Sapolsky. It said Determinism, Science of a Life Without Free Will, or something like that. Life Without Free Will. And so the cash register lady told me, she said, oh, well, of course we got free will. God gave it to us all. And at that point, I'm looking at it as a atheist, and I'm in my head like, I'm not about to argue with this lady. You know what I'm saying? But it hit me like, yo, this is kind of it did originate kind of with religion, but maybe not, because we all have the illusion of free will. So maybe we just had to give it some type of meaning. But I'm gonna give it the floor to Marcus and Logic. Are y'all brothers religious in any way?
No, not at all. Nope, not even superstitious.
No. But I will put this caveat there. It is a question that originated in philosophy. It is a question that originated in social settings and trying to understand the nature of humans in reality. And at times the church has taken it. Calvinists are determinists by definition, right? They believe that there is no free will. They put the cause as in God. I'm not in agreement with that. But I am talking about whether those in philosophy had it correct. And historically, we've known that they have had things wrong, and this may be one of
them. Wait.
This ain't the way in, Logic. This ain't the way in, Logic. I already see the hamster wheel going. This is not the way in, bro. We'll be here all night with y'all talking. Trust me, I've been in the Discord.
I thought that's what we was here for.
Nah, we gotta establish the ground. Hold on, we gotta establish the ground rules first. And plus, we got some more people on the panel. Once we establish the ground rules, y'all two can go in. I'm used to y'all doing this. Just give us a second.
Logic coming in hot.
Yeah, Logic ready. I told y'all, Logic is ready.
Ready.
Logic is ready. Logic is ready. So, we also got another pseudo killer official in the building. I said I was only gonna call him Daquan, but we're gonna give him DQ Hampton. I'm gonna cut him some slack. What's up, DQ?
Hey, I'm good, man. Today my name is Free Will. I am the Black. So we here, baby. We're gonna get it popping, man.
But I like Sea Turtle Green Pill. That was hot.
He's a thumbnail master.
That is hot.
And we just added,
baby.
Free Will, I am the Black. Oh, I see. Oh, you playing a game show on us. I got it now.
He a thumbnail master.
I love it. You.
We just added another, what's the name, but I can't read the name. Who is that, Kent?
Joel Armstrong.
No. On my screen, it was a separate person. Pull DQ's thumbnail down for me.
Cedric.
Okay, Cedric. So what's going on, Cedric? Introduce yourself, and then we're going to get into the weigh-in.
Pseudo killer official Cedric, member of the PK. This is a worthwhile discussion. Of course, everyone understands that I'm a naturalist by my nature, not an empirical naturalist, not a conceptual naturalist, but an empirical naturalist. So everything that I support is firmly rooted in naturalism. So it's going to be an interesting discussion. I'm here to see where this goes. I have my position, but I'm here to see where it goes.
Sure, indeed.
Let go.
I will.
All right, so
Let me.
go ahead, Mark.
I will say this, just so everybody understands. I don't want to minimize the impact of the statements I'm going to make. Right? I want you to know I'm fully aware of what the plausible, possible consequences, or at least the chance of how people may respond to this conversation. But I think the information is important. I think it's important. So,
all right, out of respect to Logic, I have to give him the ability. Since you just jumped in, I got to give him the ability to respond, and then we'll set the parameters. Logic, I'm sure you have something logical to respond to what Marcus just
Of
said.
course. So I mean, I just heard Marcus make mention of, how he's well aware how the conversation started in philosophy, and then I heard him allude to something about being true again. So I literally was just gonna ask him, right? Are you saying that you've come to realize that determinism is true? Is that what you're saying?
Your position as a compatibilist doesn't even deny determinism. Even people, the opponents of free will, don't deny determinism. That is actually how the universe actually works. No one denies determinism. The question is, how does that deterministic environment play on human beings? So even when you read your definition, it says that free will is compatible.
All right, stop.
Oh,
Yeah,
You
y'all gotta
can't
let
let
him
hold on. You
respond.
can't let him stop.
No.
You
Let
can't
him
stop
let him
him.
cook,
You
man.
goddamn.
Why you
Let him,
stopping him?
man.
Yo, let him
Hey,
cook.
can't mute everybody,
The
please.
turkey.
Can't
The
mute
hold on. The
everybody.
turkey was in
He
the
gotta mute
oven, bruh.
himself.
I'm
No,
telling you,
can't.
man. Let him cook, bro. I
No,
need to know where his positions is at, man.
stop, bro.
We need to
If that's the
define
case, we
terms
just
All
back
right,
first.
in the
let's hold it. Yeah,
I'm
y'all
about
calm
to
down. All right, go ahead,
define the
Brad.
terms. I don't want to let Marcus do it because we haven't organized to define the terms. Let's state the terms first. Then y'all could do this. That's the whole point of taking the sources in the first place. So share my screen. Then we could do it. Just do it in order. It's got to be proper.
Man had the
Okay.
oven with the.
So
with
we
the
have the
roast.
definitions of what we're working from for free will. We also have Logic's position, compatibilism, because we also got to remember the chat doesn't know what we're talking about. So let's give them a shared screen so they can see what we're talking about. So when we're discussing free will is the ability to decide what to do independently of any outside influence. So do we have any issues with that, Logic or Marcus? Go. Now you say whatever you want to say.
We're not gonna find determinism and compatibilism though.
No, because they
Yeah,
don't. Because honestly, hold on,
we're gonna get
they
there.
can't even agree on what free will is.
Look, look. See, like in all honesty, right? And maybe Marcus can agree to this, but through my research, which has picked up a whole lot over the last 10 to 7 days, says that that's actually a big nuance in the larger conversation. Is that it's very difficult to nail down the definition of free will, and typically these philosophers are not on solid ground. Like there is no solid front on what the definitions are. But I mean, we're gonna try to work around that. But I mean, the pressure will kind of mostly be on me to be able to accept and reject the definition, or offer my own. And I want to be able to put mine on the screen and see if he just objects to it.
Okay, put your link in the back chat. Let's see. So Marcus,
I
are
put
you
it.
cool with
I
this?
put it in there.
Okay, you put a separate link in there.
Let me find out exactly what line it's on. I think it's section 2.1.
Well, just
Let me
read
just
it.
double
Why
check.
don't you just read it and let's see if Marcus agrees with it? Because I don't know what's in the
All
private
right.
chat. No, the whole world don't need to see
Nah, we gotta source up.
it. Juju,
I mean,
I
I sent the source.
like you
You could
start.
click on it.
She on birthday vibes, yo.
Yeah, I feel like that. Did you put it in there?
Yeah, it's
Put
in
it in the
there.
back chat.
It's in there. Let me see.
Y'all trying to
No,
say I'm
it's
drinking?
no, it's not.
Nah, we just say you
Yeah,
birthday, but you feeling good.
No,
it's the
your
first.
compatibilism is in there.
Right. It's the first sentence on section 2.1.
On compatibilism?
Yeah.
Okay, so first sentence on section 2.1 right here.
Yep.
Okay,
Can
so
say according
I'll share this
no
tab
no
instead.
that
I'll share this tab instead.
according was there nothing more
Okay,
yeah.
so Marcus, how
Yep.
much of this do I need to read? Or Logic?
No, it's the first sentence.
Okay. Freedom according to classical compatibilism. According to one strand within classical compatibilism, freedom is nothing more than an agent's ability to do what she wishes in the absence of impediments that would otherwise stand in her way. For
That's it.
instance, Hobbes offers an
That was the first
exemplary.
sentence.
Hold
That
on,
was
hold
it.
on. I want to give an
Okay.
example for the chat. For instance,
Okay.
Hobbes offers an exemplary expression of classical compatibilism when he claims that a person's freedom consists in his finding no stop in doing what he has the will, desire, or inclination to do. Okay, so Marcus, are you cool with this?
If that is the source that logic wants to use, I wouldn't argue against it.
Okay, so we'll go with this, and I'll just put it in Chat GPT so it's in English on a title we can actually fit. Okay, so we'll go with this. So we're going to start with, because we already went into this, let's just stay right here. So what part, so the definition, go ahead, Logic, tell us what the definition, you're arguing from the standpoint of compatibilism. Marcus is arguing from the standpoint of hard determinism. So explain, take a couple minutes, tell me where you want me to go, and explain compatibilism to the chat and to the panel.
So compatibilism for me, right, as actually the source says, and I'm gonna read a portion of the source. Compatibilism offers a solution to the free will problem, which concerns a disputed incompatibility between free will and determinism. Compatibilism is the thesis that free will is compatible with determinism. Yeah, we agreed on that, because free will is typically taken to be necessary condition of moral responsibility. Compatibilism is sometimes expressed as a thesis about the compatibility between moral responsibility and determinism. So in short, it is a point of view that basically comes into play to be able to explain moral responsibility and still be able to hold on to the notion that there are a lot of influences into making our decisions. But the fine line difference is that if only the determinism is true. Oh shit. Okay, can y'all still hear me?
We
Yeah,
can
Yes.
you
hear
good,
you.
bro.
Okay, so if only compatibilism is true, then you have a lot of empathy to unwind, right? Such as a lot of the subjectivity that Marcus was talking about earlier becomes irrelevant. A lot of sentiments that we would generally hold near and dear to us that um, affect our decision making goes out the window, and then we become a biological machine, basically, a machine with blood and flesh and bones in our body, but we simply don't have any control, right? Um, so that's actually where the big premise of where compatibilism comes into play, right? And to give the audience a little bit more context on how we got to the point of going back and forth so heavily on it, because my first question, my first day when I heard what the definition of determinism was, is I would ask over and over and over again, and I'm sure annoy the heck out of my peers, is I would say, so what does that leave you in terms of slavery, right? What does that leave you in terms of retribution or reparations in this case? Where does that leave you with your personal sentiments that you hold near and dear that keep you saying that you're a Pan-African? What about some of this subjectivity isn't real, right? That we're actually not experiencing and able to use our previous experiences to be able to make forward thinking either predictions or decisions. I mean, so there's really no way better to like simplify it than that, but that's exactly what it is, right? And I'm under the impression of two things, right? Marcus is going to have the task of first, she's going to have to show where science is confirming determinism, right? What machine are they using? What not mammogram, but like what brain scan technique are they actually using to be able to look at that information and determine what a person's next move or idea is? Where are they actually doing that in science, right? Not just the concepts of philosophy, right? Where does science step in and actually put their stamp on the conversation? And that's basically where that's basically where we started disagreeing with each other, right? Like, show me where this is a scientific conversation. I mean, to everybody's credit, the conversation did. We slowly started to move away from it's a full on scientific conversation, and it's much more of just a philosophical debate, and not necessarily much more else than that. So I'm gonna yield the floor to you, Marcus.
Nope, not yet. Before we move forward, does anybody? Of course, you lost Loki. All you know is Egypt. We're gonna get into some of the panel and see where y'all stand so far. If y'all want to say anything.
Well, first of all, I definitely want to note. I definitely want to be able to
I know
note.
you're on the panel, Logic, but I wasn't talking to you. But go ahead.
I know, but I definitely want to be able to note that he's never came clean out and said, even though he understands the implications of what he's saying, he's never came clean out and said what those implications mean when it comes to slavery, reparations. I gave a new one. Some of the sentiments he holds near and dear, which I would probably consider there's some resentment in there that forms his identity as a Pan African. But I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Marcus. You want to respond?
So I just wanted to inform people what you heard was a lot of logical fallacies. That's what you just heard. Because what logic ultimate argument is that if we say that the universe is deterministic, and in that deterministic world, we see no place for free will, then the chain of events will lead to no reparations. That is what we call a slippery slope fallacy. That is where you presume to know the effects of an event prior to the event ever happening. That's what that is. And so my argument is that, and I know logic thinks that I'm going to come from a specific point, but my point is what science currently knows about human beings, how they evolved, how the universe came into existence, how they function, leaves no room for free will as we understand it now. I need you to get that, because how it was intended and understood from the beginning does not align with what the current science says. I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody on the panel got anything?
Yeah,
Listen. They
hold
already
on.
dropping bombs. So anybody else on the panel got something for now?
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
What up, God
Oh,
Killer?
so that's
Bobby
on.
Banger.
That's God.
Bobby
Okay.
Banger in the building. What's
You
happening
don't
with
have
you?
a thumbnail, God Killer.
Man, come on, yo. That shit was fire, man. They and this motherfucker doing their thing right now, yo. This
Yes,
been a
sir.
great goddamn day, man. Y'all gotta slow that shit down, man. You know what I'm saying? We selling tickets, nigga. We selling tickets. Well, they top
Yes,
notch,
indeed.
yo. Hey, Logic. I was saying, yo, you gotta watch Marcus, yo. He kind of sharp. And hold on. And I know you sharp, but it ain't gonna be easy, yo. He start knowing all them different fallacies. And that man said that, yo, how you gonna predetermine an event that has not happened yet? That was a good one. He was basically saying, how you know what's gonna happen when it comes to getting reparation before it happened yet. You guessing.
Mm, mm.
I got a couple
That
of
was a good
points.
one.
But
That was
yeah,
it.
he the
Oh, he
one with the
got him.
position.
Hold on.
That
I
was a
want to hear
clean one.
No,
logic.
no, no.
I want to hear logic.
That was a
He
good
the
one.
one with the he's the one with the position that says everything is predetermined.
Logic. When we tell you to stand down, this is what you're gonna learn in the debate.
Nah,
Tell
that's
you
pretty
to
much what we
Man,
stand.
told him.
man, what?
Hold on. When we tell you to stand down, just stand down, because this is also a practice for the actual debate. Just stand down for a second. 1 second. Cedric, say what you got to say.
Yes, I want to make a couple of points on what I just heard. First of all, when we're engaging in the definition of what a word is, we cannot go to yet another philosophical position that is in question to give the definition of the word. So we have to take the most general term that encompasses all of the possible meanings. And ultimately, free will is the ability to make a decision without influence of your environment or circumstances. That is the general definition of free will. And we need to ground the definition. Otherwise, the arguments are going to end up being mostly begging the question, which in itself is a logical fallacy. In the question, you're stating the premise by begging the question, and of course, the slippery slope fallacy was too obvious logic.
No, wait. Now, don't we
Hold on.
make
Go
our
ahead, Logic.
mark, yo? Don't we make our mark trying to tell people that they need to distinguish between colloquial meanings and scientific meanings? So if we're having a philosophical argument, I mean, why would it be inappropriate for us to use philosophical terms and be able to define them based on the field that we're talking about, right? Like we can't use a colloquial meaning of theory when we're talking about scientific theories. So I'm saying we can't do that on that side. And then when we come over here and have a philosophy conversation, and we now using colloquial terms. That doesn't
Mm.
make sense.
Can I interject
That's
just
a good one.
one
No,
more
no, no,
time?
no, no,
That's
no.
a
Hold
good
on,
point. Hey,
hold on.
I told you.
Can y'all
Hold on.
yeah.
Hold on, Ced. Hold on, Ced.
Marcus,
No, that's
Marcus
me. That
got
ain't
him.
Cedric. That's me.
Yeah, hold on.
Marcus got him.
Let Marcus respond to that. Go ahead, Marcus.
I wanted to hear Logic answer before Marcus.
Now he asked
Logic
the
was
question.
speaking. Logic
Yeah,
asked the
he asked the
question.
question.
No, y'all actually Cedric dove in on me in the middle of me, and you
Oh,
kind of
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I wanted to know what his response was to Marcus saying that how can you know the outcome of an event before it actually happened? And I thought that was deep, the statement. But what's the counter to that statement right there? What would you know what I'm saying? What's your response? And your response will let me know if you're ready for Marcus or not, yo, because that was cutting the edge right there. I
That
want to
was
hear.
that was tight. That
Yeah,
was
that was
tight, and
tight.
I appreciate that, right? So I would say that burden would be on Marcus. Marcus is the one that's saying that everything is predetermined, right? And if everything is predetermined, then there should be some mechanism or some process that we can use to be able to meet those predictions at a high rate to be able to say that we can determine them. I'm saying people are able to take their previous experiences, all their genetics and all those different things to sort their way out or sort their way through making decisions. Not saying that those previous experiences and genetics are determining what their next decision is. I'm saying that they use it to help them navigate through the decision, not determine their decision. So I think that weight is actually on Marcus. Marcus would be the one that got to give me a machine that's able to take a sample of my blood or scan my brain and tell me exactly what the next thing I'm gonna do, or next week rather, right? Or if am I the type of person
Okay.
that's more inclined to go out and do something socially unacceptable, such as some type of crime, rob a bank, do something crazy to somebody. That's Marcus got to show that.
Watch this. I'm gonna give you some help on it. the shit the nigga said had some magic to it, yo. It was clear. So you don't need to highlight that. Don't highlight that shit, nigga. The shit was already in the ethers, nigga. It was already powerful. You highlighting and gave it more credence. Would you guys say that's cute, nigga? But such and such, such and such, such and such. That's how you got. Don't
I
be that
ain't
nigga. Don't do it.
I ain't want to hit it that hard, yo. But I
Okay,
could hit
okay,
it.
okay, okay.
I could absolutely hit it hard. I absolutely
All
could
right,
hit it
all
hard,
right. I
yo.
like that though. See, I like that response. That's
So,
deep.
but so
See,
right,
I like that.
Yo,
I could
crazy.
I like that.
absolutely. So you know, I'm
No,
gonna take the
You
advice
said
you
it. You
No,
don't
guys.
gotta say it. I got you.
Logic. You
I ain't
said
gotta say it.
enough.
All right,
Don't let
all right,
listen.
cool.
Listen. Let me tell
Don't
you
mess
All
it
right,
up.
something.
cool.
You
Let
just
me
did
tell
it,
you
All
yo.
right,
something
That was
about
cool.
slick.
God
Let
killer,
him
right?
I
cook.
did.
Let him
I did
cook.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Logic.
yeah.
Hey, Logic, that was slick. You was like,
Yeah.
I
He,
ain't want
he
to
say
hit
he
it
don't
that
need your
hard.
help,
Listen.
Unc.
Hey, look.
Unc, he say he don't
Hey,
need your
I'm
help.
still waiting on. I'm waiting on the show,
Logic.
yo. Go ahead, show me that.
Yeah, I
Logic.
like that. Nah. Hey, Logic, that was powerful. Hey, Logic, now that was powerful.
He
See what I'm
walking
saying?
you right
He
into a
say he ain't
trap.
want to hit
Listen,
him that
Logic.
hard, yo.
Yeah, I ain't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
hit him
he
that
ain't
hard
even
on
hit him that hard. See, I see what's going on, bro. Listen, I'm trying to help you. Let Marcus, hold on, Marcus. I know you want to say something, but do me a favor. We gotta at least get past this part. Then y'all can freestyle and do whatever you want to do. But he presented compatibilism. I need you to present to the chat what determinism is. So Kent, can you share my screen, please?
Yeah, hold on a second, brother. Hey man, make sure I hit that like button, man, because this is our first time really having a debate style show. So, if y'all want us to keep doing it like this, man, and showing y'all how much we are not an echo chamber in the pseudo killers, you know what I mean? Then
Facts.
go ahead and hit that. So I'm gonna
Intelligent
share your screen,
conversation,
bruh.
nigga. It's
You
intelligent
feel me?
conversation, nigga.
You feel me?
Smash the like button. Smash the like button, family.
They
All
should
right,
know that we not no echo chamber. Bobby get on me every day live, so they should already know that.
Oh hell no, I ain't
See,
got.
now y'all about to start hashing out y'all stuff. Hold on one second.
I ain't
Hold
saying
on
nothing
one
about
second.
Chris being on this motherfucker last night. I ain't saying
Oh
nothing.
man,
I'm playing.
see, this is where we go. Y'all say I'm kicked out. Y'all say I'm kicked out. Y'all
Hey,
better
I got
pray
my
I never
I got
get
my
the key.
I got my dress shoes on for a week. I had my
Oh,
dress shoes on for a
you
week.
Sorry.
never get the key.
I'm sorry.
That nigga snug up on his
Somebody
show and
stole my
shit like a
boots.
thief in the night. Snuck
Hey,
Somebody
back
stole
to
my
the
boots.
stars. Back to the stars of the show.
hat bigger than his whole motherfucking head. I ain't never seen him fitted like that before. Okay, we got a
That's
fitted. The nigga
funny.
sleep in this
Hey,
fitted. What the
hey,
hell
hey,
going on?
hey, what they say? What they say? He got a punchable face.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You what?
Y'all wildin', bro. I'm crying.
That nigga take a shower in this fitted, yo.
Juju,
That nigga
I'ma
crazy.
holler at you
Oh
after the show.
man.
Damn.
Okay, I'm
Shit don't
sorry.
move.
I said I was sorry, Cedric.
I'ma holler at you after the
Okay,
show.
after the show.
Yeah,
It was
let's
God,
his
do this
please.
after
birthday.
this.
Hey,
Yo.
Thunder said happy birthday too, Juju.
Man,
Thank
say
you,
it with a
Thunder.
cash app. Nobody want to hear that madness.
I'm
Say
just
it with some
kidding.
cash.
I'm just kidding,
Like,
Juju.
act like you got some bread. Act like you've been somewhere.
10-4, brass.
Yeah.
10-4.
Hey,
Brag,
Hey,
wow,
you
Focus,
that's
sharing
funny.
the screen, Kent?
yeah, it's Sharon, yo.
All right, and just on one final note, Chris Harris has the Bass Pro Shop fitted. Fit everything in the store. Moving forward.
Damn.
Stupid.
I had to get mine in. Y'all ain't gonna get off, and I can't do what I gotta do.
Y'all what?
You can put all the tools for your fishing
Boy,
and your camping gear in that hat.
God.
Bass Pro Shop Special.
God.
So moving forward.
Oh,
Moving forward.
that
Marcus,
shit funny.
I need you to stand on your square. You getting jabbed right now, I'm telling you. You're gonna underestimate logic, and he gonna come over the top with a left hook. So explain your stance of determinism, and then I'm gonna let y'all just do what y'all do. So where do you want me to go into this source, Marcus?
Just read where it says hard determinism is and what it states it is.
Okay. Hard determinism or metaphysical determinism is a view on free will which holds that determinism is true, that it is incompatible with free will, and therefore that free will does not exist. Although
That's
hard
it.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, let me read it one more time. Hard determinism or metaphysical determinism is a view on free will which holds that determinism is true, that it is incompatible with free will, and therefore that free will does not exist. So, you stop sharing my screen.
Thank you.
So hold on. We're going to get into the weigh-in. Go ahead, Marcus.
So if we understand the first definition of what free will is, that is the ability to make a decision without any outside influences. Now, it's not just outside, inside and outside, internal, external experiences. We have more definitions for that. That idea is incompatible with what we know about the deterministic nature of the universe. It's just incompatible. Why? Because there's no such thing as a causeless cause. Anyone who likes causeless cause, we call them people religious and God. The ultimate argument is, are humans somehow or another separate from the natural order of the world? That means the frog, the bacteria, even the chemicals that are made in stars that we are now made of. We are made of star stuff. That is Carl Sagan, 1978, I believe. If that be the case, based on that, there is no room for a causeless cause. Simple.
Okay. I just put Logic's source in the chat. I put Logic source in the chat for compatibilism, and I just put Marcus's source for determinism in the chat. So that's the standing grounds. The basic premise of the debate is it free will or no free will? Compatibilism versus determinism. Does anybody on the panel, and do me a favor, Joel, I know you are unmarked, but Joel is one of the judges. He's the only judge we have right now. He is non-biased, biased. He's non-biased, non-Christian. But at the end of the day, he's the one judge we have, so I'm going to cede to him first. I'm going to give him the opportunity to ask any questions that you have to get this weigh-in started. And trust me, once we start asking questions, you all can go in. So, Joel, do you have any questions? Any question for either one of the combatants right now?
Yeah, I do. I got. How many questions can I ask them?
You get one question because we got other people on the panel, and then but I will cede to you. I'll come back around to you faster. So ask your most important question first.
All right. First, let me say I was leaning with Marcus until Logic threw that body check with that question. Marcus didn't really answer him, so I was starting to lean toward Logic again. But be that as it may, my question would be, what has science done to move you towards your position? Like what is it that you're reading from the scientists that's moving you towards taking the position you're taking?
Hey, do me a favor. I hear a car in the background. Everybody else mute up.
That's an excellent question, bro.
Was that question for me?
I think it's for both of us, right?
That's for both of y'all. Yeah, that's for both of y'all.
Yeah, good question.
I will answer it this way. Since the origins of species, science has continuously disproven religious philosophical ideas. And because of that, I stand with the most relevant science today. The biggest argument is not whether you have free will. The biggest argument is the consequences of saying you don't have free will. Logic has made a critical mistake. He thinks that the burden of proof is on the science. The burden of proof is on philosophy, who decided that you had free will in the first place, because that was their thinking based on limited knowledge. Now we have more knowledge. When Plato described free will, they still thought basically that the earth was the center of the universe. We now know that's not true. They still believe gods cause thunder and lightning. There are many things that at a time philosophers thought to be true, and now today we know they were wrong. In this case, I'm arguing that free will was one of those situations.
Wait. I ain't
Okay, go
understand
ahead,
that.
Logic. Go ahead, Logic.
That was beautiful, Marcus. That was beautiful. Go
I
ahead.
mean, I didn't understand that. So what science has done for me to be able to push me into my position, right, is demonstrate that we are what you would call sentient beings, right? And all that simply means is that we have the capacity to have feelings and emotions, right? So if you're saying that we have this ability to have these feelings and emotions, then it- it's reasonable to say that we're going to use these emotions to help us navigate through these decisions. It's not a process that can be turned off. Right? The best example that I can think of is something like resentment. Right? Resentment entails that you have to be aware of another person's intentions in a way that allows you to either feel as if they did it on purpose or did it on accident, right? And that's going to completely dictate how you really feel about it, right? Somebody step on your shoe on accident, you don't feel, you don't feel as if that person did you wrong. But if they just walk up to you and just stomp on your foot, then you can clearly gauge that person's intentions, and your feelings or emotions are going to be appropriate based on that, right? You can say the opposite, right? Like if you do something terrible, even if it's on accident, you feel terrible, right? This is another process that you don't have the ability to take off, that you don't have the ability to just set aside for for any particular reason, right? It's part of our biochemistry to have these reactions to situations demonstrated.
Okay, Joel, is that sufficient for where you are for now?
Yeah. That lets both of them know where they coming from. You said that's the only question you want me to do, right?
Yeah, because I want to get a couple of the other people on the panel, and then I'm gonna come back to you. What I'll do is I'll do 2 people, then come back to you, 2 people, then come back to you, if that's okay.
All right, that works.
And also, if you are on camera, do not sway the chat by saying yes and no while the debaters are talking. This show is about the debaters, not the panel. Cedric, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Go ahead and ask your question. Who you asking your question to first, or is it to
I
both?
want to ask my question to Marcus first, but of course, Logic can chime in. Can you explain the difference between the concept of determinism versus to determine or predetermine? Can you expound on the difference between those two concepts?
Yes, predeterminism is the idea, that's the religious concept for determinism, which is saying that God has predetermined all actions to come, and therefore you have no choice but to perform the task of that. And they come from a scripture, believe it or not, where he says some have been set aside for destruction and some for glory, and they use these type of texts. That's religious, the Bible's version. They have it in other texts as well. But determinism doesn't say that, because we understand change over time. So sometimes what happens is when people say determine, they're saying that means the future events cannot be avoided, but that's actually not what determinism is, because we stand on evolution, and evolution says things change over time. And just like you can't predict how a man will look, how humanity will look in 100,000 years, you can't predict to a T every causal action that may be there. That means at this current time, we do not have the technology to determine where every single molecule in the universe is. But we can easily have some predictions, because we still land in spaceships on asteroids. Thank you.
Whoever's in the car, you got to mute up. We're getting background. Go ahead, Logic. Do you want to address that also?
Is the same question for me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's the question again? Determinism versus
What's the
what's
difference
determined?
between determinism and to determine or predetermined?
From my understanding, determinism has a core argument involved in it, right? The core argument involved in it says that if we were to rewind the universe 1,000 times, they would play back the exact same way 1,000 times. It's saying that a person in any given circumstance would can only do the thing that they did. And if we rewound that 1,000 times, that they would do it 1,000 times. So with that being said, the future is it is a question. It's a question that determinism says can be answered through prediction, right? I should be able to pick out in the crowd, hey, okay, now that I've figured out that you've got some um, psychopathic disorder or something of that nature, that I should be able to look at your past experiences and predict your next move. Like that's the core source of what determinism says. I'm not sure what Marcus is saying when he says that. That's not the definition that I see in my article. So I'm almost curious to where he's getting that portion of it from. Because I'm reading that specifically it says that determinism's core argument is that a person could not have done otherwise, which is the whole reason why it raises the question of moral responsibility. Because if you don't have any control to have done otherwise, how can I hold you morally responsible? That's the whole reason compatibilism is even a thing, is even a talking point, right? Is because there is that layer of, well, if everything is predetermined and you don't have any control, then how, if you don't have any control at all over yourself, how can I hold you accountable for any of your actions? That seems to be relatively simple. So I'm not sure where you're getting that definition from, but I mean it's the same article that I put in the back chat of where I'm getting mine.
Okay, so that was interesting. I want y'all to notice two things that happen. One, logic proved what I said, which is compatibilism problem isn't really about whether the world is deterministic or not, but it's about the consequences of saying that it is no free will. So he went to, that means if somebody does this, if somebody does that, again, that's consequences. It's not addressing the actual subject matter. And I want you to know that science, while it is concerned about these things, still presents itself as a truth. Charles Darwin battled with it with the origins of species. He battled with this very same concept. And when he produced the book, he got pushback, the same type of pushback that we see logic using here today. Nevertheless, Charles Darwin was still correct. And the second point is, he's only talking about past experiences. So when you read it, he's saying that what you have done, that's past tense, based on what we understand in the universe, could be no other way. But that does not mean that you cannot set the environment up for change. That's ultimately what the question is.
No, so what I was saying that you did not address was that the core of the argument of determinism says that a person could not have done otherwise, right? Are you just agreeing to that part and not, you just went past it and I didn't catch it?
No, yeah. See, I said that they're talking about past actions. So have is a past tense term, right? When they saying a person could not have done the action. But what I'm saying is people assume that means their future action is already written in stone. But if you actually listen to them make the argument, they're saying because we understand that this is a deterministic universe that practices and moves a certain way, if we could adjust the environment for the best possible thing, and that's still based upon external factors, which is the scientific studies that they've done.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Hold on.
wait a second. Let us hash this out.
Let that be the last response because I want to get to the other questions. Go ahead, Elijah.
So what I'm saying is, man, you kind of made me lose my point right there. But
Don't care.
so what
Keep
I'm trying to say is, right, so at some point in time, that person's present would have been their future, right? So if you're saying in a predeterministic universe or worldview or concept, whatever, however we're going to put this, that person's next move was already predetermined, and it was basically predetermined from the point of the Big Bang, and it was inevitable. Are you okay with that? Are you disagreeing with that?
I'm disagreeing with the uses of predetermined.
So everything being predetermined up until what?
What I'm saying is that your concept of determinism is based on the assumption that there are consequences to saying no free will. And because of that, it skews the way you view their argument. And I'm
So
saying that when you say predetermined, predeterministic is a Calvinist Reformation argument. I am not making that argument. My argument is that the philosophers who said we have free will, right, based on what they were talking about, was incorrect. And that if you want to discuss it, then we have to discuss it from the point of their error.
no, what you're saying isn't you're not saying it clear, right? And so are you saying everything is predetermined except for the future, or is everything predetermined?
I'm saying that you keep using predetermined, but
It,
determinism has a specific uh, connotation to it. And that when they're talking about hard determinism, they are making references to certain uh, aspects of the universe, including human nature. And that these things influence what you believe to be free making decisions. I need to say that again. You believe that it's a free decision, but in reality, you are surrounded by influences that you are unaware of.
okay, so you that don't sound like you answering the question, right? So if everything is determined, not predetermined, everything is determined, right? Are you saying the future is not also determined?
I said earlier that in 100,000 years, no one knows what humans would look like. I cannot predict the future. I'm not a prophet of God. I'm telling you that currently this is what the scientists are saying in response to that claim made by philosophers hundreds of years ago.
Oh, okay. So the scientists are not claiming that everything is determined.
I'm saying again that based on what they said that free will is, that statement is not true. When they made these claims about free will, they did not know about genetics. They did not know about mutations. They did not know about evolution. They did not know about cultural influences. They did not know about agricultural, environmental influences. All these things developed later on. And when these things developed, it came to the conclusion that what you said then cannot be true.
Okay. Let's land the plane right there. Let's move forward. Yeah, I see. I listen because we got other questions, and also Marcus is not going to be here the whole evening, and we're still going to have this discussion once he gets off.
Hey, hold on. I ain't get my question off.
No, we're not. No. I'm going to you as the next question. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's get off of that topic. Let's go to the next question. Kent, go ahead and ask your question.
And this and Brendan kind of hit the nail on the head in the chat. I just saw he put that in there. That was actually what I was about to ask. So my question is for Logic and Marcus. He could chime in afterwards after Logic gives his answer. At what point do we operate off of something that's not that isn't affected by an external factor? At what point do we behave in a way that's not affected by an external factor?
That's a good question. I would rephrase that to make it sound a little bit less confusion and say, at what point do we lose control? Right? At what point do we become powerless to observe the world as we know it and don't have the ability to turn left when we can only turn right? At what point is that no longer available to us? It's a I mean, that's a part of like the whole conversation, right? Like that's a part of this philosophical debate that has been going on for more than 2,000 years now at this point, and why it's so difficult to actually find the common ground between the philosophers, because that that's that may that may be very difficult for technology to actually ever reach that point. But that's a good question. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure how to answer that, because my truth is, right, in compatibilism, that it does absolutely respect causality. It does absolutely say that we are influenced by our previous experiences and so on and so forth, but we still in the moment have the ability to act with intent. That's probably the best way that I know how to be able to answer that question.
Marcus, do you
Okay,
want to
now
touch on that answer?
yeah.
Yes, I am not having a philosophical argument. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about subjective reality. I'm not talking about how you feel about it. I'm not talking about whether you hope you do or don't. What I'm saying is, based on what we know about the current workings of the universe, there is no such thing as a causeless cause. That everything we know is affected by the four fundamental laws. That's it. Nothing is outside of that. When we talk about the stars making chemicals, some of them chemicals is potassium and calcium. Those same chemicals, potassium and calcium, is used for neurons to fire. It is not anything outside of it. There's no magic pill that makes humans different. There's no such thing as human exceptionalism. We are fundamentally part of the natural workings of the world. We are just an emergent property of the earth, nothing more, nothing less. And I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, Joe, I'm gonna go to you. I've already scored these rounds a little bit. God Killer, if you don't mind, I know you've heard both responses, but before I get to Joe, tell me where you at so far based on the questions that are answered. Just a little preview.
You talking about me?
Yes, sir.
Man, it seemed like Marcus know the material, and seemed like Logic know the material. This is a great high level conversation right here, yo. And I think we can learn something from this, man. I'm thinking, okay, who I want to get at on Amaros, on the pseudo killers. I was like, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm ready for this format right here, yo. This is a good one. I like being in an environment where it's just new, and I like the way I like this. You got to know what the hell you're talking about, yo. You got to be ready right there, without the bog down. I like that. So right now, I would like to ask both of them a question, if that's just possible to interject that right
You
there.
don't mind if you can go after this, Joe? Is that cool? Okay, go ahead, God Killer.
So
No, I can't talk. No.
something is wrong with you, no Christian. It is definitely something wrong with you. Definitely. Let me say this. I just want to know from both the brothers. Okay? And based off what I know about evolution, am I wrong for saying, and it will support both of y'all, watch this, that in actuality, right? Whether we have free will or not, if that matters or not, I think it's really based off of, I want to know if I'm right or wrong now. Is it actually an illusion? Now, if it's an illusion, then both of y'all are right. So I'm gonna ask y'all, based off what I know about biological human evolution, right? Is that actually a byproduct and it's just an illusion?
I can go first.
Go ahead.
When you watch the Baltimore Ravens play, and you see somebody commit an intentional foul on your quarterback, right?
Mm.
Is the referee having an illusion when he says that the man could have held up, he ain't had to hit him, or he could have ran past him, or is he actually judging the person's intent? Is he able to see the person's intent, right? And then if I take a top down look at that and I ask you, hey, what happened, right? You will say he committed an intentional foul. You ask the person in the room, hey, what happened? He committed an intentional foul. If we ask the referee what happened, he gonna say he committed an intentional foul. If we ask the guy who did it what happened, he gonna say I hit him. He ain't gonna say I don't know. He ain't gonna say something came over me, right? You might have some other extreme circumstances that we could absolutely get into later, but we certainly seem to be in control, right? Like there isn't anything preventing me from raising my arm in the air right now, or walking out the room, or walking outside, getting something to eat. I mean, this is what the field has kind of come to terms with a new term I got to introduce called folk psychology, right? It's just our everyday way of going about things at the point when it comes to intent, right? Can I judge that you stepped on my shoe on purpose or on accident? If I actually do something wrong to somebody, does it feel bad, right? Like is what's happening what I'm responding to, or am I just simply having a biological experience and my body's just taking me where I'm already predestined to go?
So that's a no.
I actually like Lodge's answer. I'm going to do something that I said I wasn't going to do. I'm actually going to take something out of my presentation I've already made. I'm not even going to use it because you asked a wonderful question. I'm actually going to show right now the answer to your question and why this conversation. While I appreciate, let me say this. I'm gonna be honest about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate Logic's willingness, right, to fight back. I do, right? Because it is something that takes a lot of gumption. And I can tell that from the previous conversations that he's actually reading some high level material. I appreciate that. I really do. I want Logic to know that. Brass, who got control right now?
I got you, bro. What you need?
Share my screen for me, please. We had a conversation in the Discord about rainbows. I'm sure y'all remember that. What God
Definitely had a 24-hour conversation about rainbow. That was a good day. But go ahead, brother.
That was 48 hours, bro. What you talking about?
So what God Killer asked us was a very important question. You see two types of rainbows, one on the left and one on the right. The one on the left is how we perceive rainbows. That's our subjective experience. It's fed by culture. It's fed by our education. The demarcation lines between colors is subjective to the environment you're in. So people in different environments may see different colors and that demarcation line differently depending on the environment they brought into. But what actually it is the one on the right. There are no lines. It's all blurry. It's one continuum, electromagnetic. It's just light and how it responds to matter. My argument is I'm only going to address what's on the right, the objective reality of what we know. I am not discounting subjective reality, the one on the left where the demarcation lines are. I expect you to have these experiences because we are ultimately social creatures. And what Logic is talking about is how we socialize. And yes, that's part of the evolutionary process that us humans went through, but that does not negate the objective reality. That's why we promote scientific literacy, because scientific literacy clears the air on what our deceiving brains do. Our god dang senses deceive us, so we feel one way despite what it really is. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
I like this.
So it is
Yeah,
an
I like
illusion. So it's an illusion.
All right,
Point.
y'all. Okay, so y'all answer. So
No, that's the answer, Logic. We're gonna move. Unless you,
We
I'm gonna
got
give you the
a
opportunity
no
to
from
say one
me.
thing. I'm
you
gonna
got
give
to
you
know.
the
No,
opportunity to say one thing.
no from
Yeah,
me and a yes from him. It's an
yeah. But
illusion.
you know what an illusion? Y'all know what an illusion is, right? That something is actually happening, right? And you actually think it's happening, right? And so I think for some weird evolutionary reason, there was a need for us to feel like we have control. I think based off the fact that we don't have control, and that's just understanding evolution, right? But there's still a need to think we have control. And I'll end with that.
Okay. Hold
Um,
on. No.
I just want to say, I'm gonna let him know.
Okay, good.
I agree, and I'm going to talk about that need.
Okay,
Wow.
and logic.
You
Just
know, I
because
just
Marcus spoke,
y'all know I just figured that out just based off understanding evolution. Y'all. I wanted to actually stay away from the material. I wanted to see how much of the conversation could I really understand by understanding evolution. I'm doing my own, as Brad
let
say,
me well
social
let me
experiment.
well
so
let me quickly just
go
add
ahead,
something
Logic.
small
I'm
on
gonna
that.
let you in. Go ahead. You got a
I'm
minute.
gonna just add something small to that, right? So if all this stuff is operating within the laws of nature, right? What would exclude some of these subjectivities that we have incorporated into our social environment, right? Like what would discount some of our social nuances as a part of our um as a part of our evolution? What would dismantle that? You kind of get what I'm saying? So like, yeah, you may be able to say, um, let's say if you decide to say resentment is subjective, right? To whatever my cultural nuances are, George Bush got a shoe through at him, right? We don't throw shoes in America, but apparently over there, that's a big deal. You somebody throw a shoe at you, it's like it's worse if they spit on you or something. You know what I'm saying? That might be the equivalent of getting spit on in America. Over there, they throw shoes at you. So what I'm saying is, what would why would it be impossible to look at those social advancements or our ways of socializing? What would discount that from being a part of evolution?
Who discounts it? That's the point. That's why I said you don't understand the real concept of living in a deterministic world.
I remember a couple minutes ago. I remember you kind of saying that some of that subjectivity that you're willing to let it go.
What I said was I'm only going to deal with objective reality in regards to this conversation, but that does not mean I discount people's personal experiences, right? I'm not going to discount that because then I would be disingenuous to the conversation. And I'm not a disingenuous person, but I don't want us to mistake the 2 points that we're talking about, right? You're going to live in subjective experiences. You're going to deal with the consequences of people's negative actions. I am going to tell you that despite what you may believe, the objective reality is what it is. Now, why is that beneficial for us to understand? Look at evolution. Look at the medicine we developed after evolution. We could have just rejected Charles Darwin and stayed with the common religious doctrine of how humans came to be, right? But by accepting the concepts and theories and natural selection, we have now advanced society for the better. That didn't negate that some people today still want to believe in God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, yeah, you do have personal experiences. You have quaila. That's the word you're looking for. I'm gonna give you one. It's called quaila. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you.
I appreciate that.
No problem. Look, get ready for it. Because
You know
guess
what?
what?
So
No,
the answer
Logic,
is,
stop. Logic, stop.
bro, you
No,
gotta
no,
let
no,
us do
no.
our
Stop.
thing, man. Come
Stop.
on,
No, I'm
man. I'm
not.
trying
This
to
ain't
get
the
clarity
debate.
on what he talking
This is
about. He
not
talking
the
in
debate.
circles and stuff, yo. Come on,
Logic,
man.
Logic, this ain't the debate. And Marcus don't have all night. That's what you don't know. Marcus don't have all night. I
You
gotta
should
get
have
the other
did this when
question.
he had time there,
We
man.
get
The handcuffs is on me.
Logic, we not in the Discord, bro.
Nah,
We
let
not
him
in
rock out, man. You gotta let him rock out, bro.
no,
Yeah,
stop
man.
getting on that. Hey, listen.
I'm with you on keep the
I
format, but
don't care
you
if
gotta
you're
let
with
us
me.
get it
Just
in, yo.
listen. This is the proper debate. This is proper. This isn't the Discord. This isn't the voice chat. This is a proper thing. We got people watching, and this is recorded. Just follow the lead. You're a debater. Debate. Give me a second. Joel, ask your next question.
All righty. So I was looking at the chat. I see the chat having a hard time with this conversation and like understanding it. And I know the objective of the pseudo killers is really to try to teach. You know, that's like the objective. So I know y'all didn't come with any screen shares, but I guess the question that would help everybody is who can we read that will kind of give us a glimpse into what you all are describing to us today, what you all are contending. Is there anybody that you would point to that somebody can sit down, read it, and kind of come to an understanding of what you're presenting?
Yes. So what I'm going to tell you, that's a beautiful question, is at the debate, not only will I be quoting numerous of sources, more importantly, though, I'm going to list some books, not just my position, but I will give you the books of the counter arguments, both free will compatibilism as well as hard determinism. But I want to keep this in mind. Compatibilists don't disagree with a deterministic world. They argue that despite the earth, the world, the universe being deterministic, somehow or another, you still can make a decision outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Logic.
What's your question again, Joel?
I was asking, like, who would you point
Oh,
the audience?
who would I recommend?
Yeah.
So far, my favorite people have been you probably look them up easier under P.F. Strawson. P.F. Strawson is a compatibilist, probably a classic compatibilist, and he is the one who makes the argument that that determinism kind of has not been able to kind of get out of. Not the only person, but he's one of the ones that my favorite because of the way the whole conversation started. Right, Strawson's viewpoint is that we have evolved socially to the point of having this subjectivity, our emotions, and all these things inside of society, and that you can't unwind it. Right, like you can't turn off. If you feel, if somebody do something to you that make you feel a certain way, you can't turn off unless you're a psychopath. You can't turn off your ability to just go out and do bad things to people and not feel bad about it, right? And some of these things are weighing very heavily on your actions. That's the short view. So I got him. I got Stephen Morris that I look at. I'm also reading a book right now by what's the guy's name? I just bought it today.
Dan Dennett.
Stephen Mitchell, Kevin Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell is another neuroscientist that argues against determinism. He's actually he's my secret weapon, to be honest with you. I'm gonna pull him out.
So neuroscience would be the best scientific field to look into, right? Because
No, I would disagree. I would disagree with that.
No,
I would disagree with that. I'm trying to do two things at one time right here. But this is absolutely a philosophical conversation, whether Marcus agrees to that or not. And I'll absolutely be able to detail that in the debate. And not only is it a psychological, I mean, a metaphysical, so psychology, I mean, philosophy conversation. That's exactly what it is. But the burden of truth is actually on him. I'll be able to prove that debate. I'm trying to be able to pull it up right now so I can put it on the screen. But that's where I would start, right? That's absolutely what is putting my whole argument together. I mean, and I'm sure you guys have heard us talking about Sapolsky here and there. I just use him as a baseline for what a determinist argument actually is, right? I would assume by him being a neuroscience that's somewhat familiar with damn, I keep forgetting the word, with philosophy, that he has a well organized opinion about determinism. So that's where I'm doing most of my research at.
Hey, I got a question. A logic. So
Hold on. Let Marcus respond. Marcus, you want to
okay, go
respond to
ahead.
that?
Go ahead, Mark.
Kevin Mitchell is a excellent book to read. I really like his work. So I think that's good that you did it. Did you say Kevin Mitchell was a compatibilist?
No, I didn't. I don't think I said what his philosophy position was. I just think I said he was a neuroscientist.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Let me get to Juju real quick because Juju been patient, and then we're gonna open up the panel. I think Cedric has another question, but Juju, do you have a question for the debaters?
No, I'm just listening and learning. Actually,
Okay.
good
Okay, let me
discussion
get that
so
question,
far.
man.
Yeah,
Huh?
go ahead, Kent. Then we're gonna go to Ced. And by the way, put the link in the chat. All you people, Brendan, Miss Tiff, Sakina Rod, you don't have to cam up, but you do have to at least join the panel to ask your question. Put the link in the chat, and then we're gonna go to the chat, and then we're gonna do an open discussion with just PK because Marcus don't have all night. Go ahead, Kent. Ask your question.
All right. So I just heard Joel ask if it was a question in neurology, or if that was a science that could be that this topic could be surrounded by. And I asked logic. Well, if you're talking about decision making, right, and we know that decisions happen in the brain, wouldn't you look to somebody that studies the brain to be able to answer these types of questions as well? Same for Marcus.
My phone.
Go ahead,
My bad.
Marcus. Logic having some technical difficulties. Go ahead, Marcus.
I would say that it is not solely neurology. I would say that's just one component of a multiplicity of disciplines that is needed to really understand. Because what we're really talking about is not solely on how the brain functions, but we're talking about also environmental influences that are beyond your current brain, right? What led to the prefrontal lobe being developed the way it was, right? And if that be the case, then we cannot exclude those factors in the thing. I think what we really have here going on is, and this is it's interesting to say the least. I've been following in the chat. I think people are misunderstanding the overall contention that some scientists are presenting about free will. Their ultimate argument is the concept of free will is actually a hindrance to the progress of society because it makes certain assumptions about the nature of people that do not exist based on the current science.
Go ahead, Logic. That's a good point.
What was the question? My phone went out.
Okay, what was the question, Ken?
So being that we make decisions with our brain, we know that everything we do, we are our brain, pretty much, right? So decision making would happen in our brain. Wouldn't this also include? Wouldn't this be neurology? Wouldn't that science be something that we would look to answer some of these questions?
That's a great point. I mean, I mean, it touches on a few things I find very interesting, right? We use our brain to make decisions, but our decisions are already predetermined by the universe. So is the universe making that decision and our brain just kind of doing what the universe tell it to do? That's a difficult concept to kind of capture inside of everything being determined by something other than you. What is your prefrontal cortex being
Man,
used for?
hey, that's some spooky stuff he just said. That's some spooky stuff. We're not gonna do that.
Hey, don't do nothing,
Mm,
Nah,
Brad.
nah,
Shut
we're
up,
yeah,
not
I
shut
ain't
gonna
up,
do
cut you
that.
Brad.
off this
Let him
whole
Come
rock.
on,
time,
man.
yo.
Let him
Go
rock. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I ain't cut you
What
off this
I'll
whole
spooky
give it.
about it,
time,
Mark?
yo.
I
What's spooky
No,
apologize.
about it,
no,
Mark?
go ahead, go ahead. This is what the weigh-in's about. Go ahead. Now y'all go.
Man, ain't nobody saying that. That's spookism logic. Knock that off, man. You just made a God argument. Come on, bro. Don't do that. That's what Lex
I,
Vortex do, talking about the universe is conscious and they
okay,
control your
so
actions.
so if I
No,
so if
you
so
know
if
that's
I
not
so
my
if I
argument.
replace the universe, if I replace the universe with human nature, am I saying anything different? Human nature decided for me, not my brain.
Listen, I'm not doing the spooky stuff with you, Logic. I'm sticking to objective
Wow,
reality.
you used the man. Now you see, yo, I done said, you know what, Marcus, man, I'm gonna just shake my head. Let me just nod my head with you. But absolutely, man, I done lost the original question at this point, man. But like, just tell me one more time, kid. My bad.
No, well, I was going to ask Marcus what was spooky
Oh, is
about
it
it.
neurology? Is that the
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, because
Well,
hold on. And the reason I asked that is because I heard you say it's a philosophical question, right? But we're
right,
dealing
right,
with
right.
when we've been having shows about the brain. For those that are listening that may not have caught the previous shows on the brain, man, y'all should check those out. Awesome shows. Hit the like button, all that, right? Um,
Mm-hmm,
but we know that our decision making happens in our brain, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and I know that neurologist is the study of the brain, right? So, wouldn't they be some people that I know one of the books we read right now is a neurologist, or the author is a neurologist. So,
Right,
wouldn't
right,
they
right.
be the ones that we would turn to for some of these answers? Not saying that that's the
Absolutely.
only thing that that deals with this topic, but that's one of the main sciences that deals with this topic. Is what I'm saying.
You're absolutely correct, right? And then so like the real when you get right down to it, right? When we get the way that this conversation shifts from a philosophical conversation to a scientific conversation is when you start including things like evidence, right? So you can, if we're talking about brain activity, the evidence for the brain activity is going to come from the neurologist and whatever his equipment can tell him, right? So, you're absolutely correct. I mean, and just to kind of get right down to it, neurology really doesn't offer a whole lot of solutions when it comes down to the free will conversation. It's really concepts, a heated debate inside of philosophy and not in science. Philosophy is the one that's reaching out to science to try to get some closure on this 2,000-year-old conversation, and it's not the other way around, right? Science doesn't have the kind of equipment to be able to even test for things like not just general brain activity, but the big question becomes why, right? So you can read whatever it is that you read on a brain scan, but it doesn't tell you why a person did it. So I'm not sure what other disciplines he means when he says multidiscipline to be able to come up with this concept, but yeah, absolutely. At this point we're talking about how much can neuroscience weigh in on the conversation to give either me the advantage.
Genetics.
Okay, and Marcus, what was
Genetics.
spooky about his answer
Geneticists.
earlier?
Geneticists is another science that plays a role in it. We have individuals born with Down syndrome. That's a genetic condition, right?
Well, see,
Yeah, that's fact.
Epigenetics.
but that
Epigenetics.
doesn't even make sense. That's an obvious, that's a person obviously not functioning like other human beings would function. So of course his options and decision making are going to be even more limited than a regular person. Of course, he is not operating with any sort of like, I ain't gonna say any sort of, but even more limited than a regular person would be. His faculties aren't all there.
No, what I meant was you said that what other science would it be? I just gave you one because genetics plays a role too. See, that's why I like Kevin Mitchell. See, genetics plays a role. And so when we talk about internal and external factors, it isn't just how your brain operates. It also comes from the bacteria in your gut, your blood oxygen level, your sucrose and glucose, your fructose levels. All those things play a part. If I limit the conversation just to neurology, I would be fighting an uphill battle, but I'm not. Because astrophysicists also say, hey, wait a minute, based on what we know about matter, free will does not exist.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, that's part.
I think that's where they get it from in the first
Sam
place.
Harris.
But
Yeah,
okay.
That's where I'm at.
So
That's a
if
good
you
point.
attempt to hold and pound me down to
Whoa.
Let him
neurologists,
finish,
you
Logic.
walking up a bad path with that right there.
Okay,
So Marcus, you saying it's a physicist conversation too?
I got you, said you be next.
It's about the nature of reality as we know it today. That includes all avenues of science. None of them is excluded from this conversation. As a matter of fact, that's ultimately Logic's problem. Is he's talking about the social realities of what happens when people say no free will. What about reparations? That's a social reality.
Yeah, what about
if somebody
reparations?
commits
Yeah, come out and say it, yo. Speak on
what
it.
about if somebody commits murder? Social reality. What I'm saying is, irregardless to all those factors that I still have compassion for, I'm not ignoring that. I am talking about how the universe actually operates. And it is no such thing as a causeless cause. So that means even if you want to raise your hand, that raising of the hand required neurons to fire, calcium and potassium to move. And if you did not have enough in it, you can't move your arm. What do you think shaking leg syndrome is? Right. My point exactly.
What is it? What is it,
Real
Marcus?
quick, but what's shaking leg syndrome, Marcus?
We're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay.
Well,
Hold on.
all I respond to that with is
He holding his ammo.
all
He
I
holding
would-
the ammo on you, Lord.
all I
Go ahead.
respond to that with is on the brain scan, a spasm and volition look the same. If I raise my arm up in the air on purpose, brain activity looks the same as if I had a spasm and my arm went up in the air. They can't distinguish. They can't distinguish the two, right? So I'm trying to figure out how would genetics help me be able to distinguish the two. I'm kind of still on that part a little bit, but
God of the gap.
Actual, that's pretty deep right
God
there.
of the gaps.
That's a good punch.
Can I start?
I like that.
God of the gaps. That's
how is it God of the gap, yo? You starting to spit out terms that ain't even like lining up with stuff I'm talking about.
You are. You just said what you basically said. What you basically said is because science currently can't detect between a spasm, right, and you raising your arm deliberately, right? That means that somehow or another, that means we still have free will. That's God of the gaps. That's exactly.
I didn't say that.
Did.
I didn't go that far.
Restate your point, Logic. When he's done.
And I want to say this, and this is going to be a very strange statement. Whether you are doing something based on action potential or you're working both network module systems, right? Both the action potential and the resistance. See, you think I didn't know about that part. Oh, I do, right? Both of them were considered free will by people, and we have the studies. So that means whether you did it intentionally or not, you still consider it free will. Knock it off.
You know, Marcus, you know you're my guy, right? But right now, I gotta get you, bro. I just got to get you a little bit right here, dog. So what I tried to nicely explain, right, and I tried to kind of hold a little bit back, but you just said yourself that if science ain't able to to verify it on the brain scan. And my original question was, is how is biology going to help you answer that, right? So you didn't address either one of the two things that I said. Really, you really just said everything that I said was fallacious and gave me some new word to distract me, but you didn't answer either one of the two questions. For real, for real. Because you said so I'm gonna reiterate, right? That they haven't got to the point in science to where they're able to verify or validate any one of the claims that this is happening outside of my own will, of me raising my arm. They can't look at the brain scan and be able to determine why I did anything that I did. Like it's I'm trying to make it nice and simple so it's easy to follow this already complicated conversation. But with that being said, in order for us to take this conversation from philosophy to science, we have to be talking about proof. The phenomenon is that I can raise my arm and nothing is impeding me. Right. So you would have to be trying to show me how I'm raising my arm because some other outside force is asking me to do it. That's going to be tough. How are you going to verify on what technology? What technology is genetics offering that does that? What technology is neuroscience offering that's doing that?
Well, why would you raise your arm?
That why because I want to. It's my desire.
Why do we usually raise our hand?
For whatever reason we need to. It is my desire to raise my hand. I have the ability to act on my desires, which is a part of the reason why you'd have to hold me responsible if I raise my arm up and hit you in your chest or whatever it is. You have to be able to now evaluate if I did it on purpose. Did I raise my arm right next to you? Was I looking at you when I raised my arm? But see, we get into the nuances. What I'm trying to stay with is, in order for us to be able to go from this philosophical conversation and move to a scientific conversation, you got to provide me proof. And the question that we're still trying to answer is how is genetics going to help bridge the gap between neuroscience not being able to identify that reason why I raised my arm and genetics being able to give me the reason why I raised my arm?
So
that's the question.
So the point of genetics was what other science is involved. And I said that genetics is involved. Why would genetics be involved? Let's just think about it. Someone offers you a peanut butter cookie. And you say, yeah, I want it, right? But you have an allergen to peanuts. Now that becomes a hindrance, right, to you. So you have a genetic propensity, or you are allergic to peanuts. But let's look at some other things. I heard he just did it again. If I raise my arm to punch somebody in the face, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Logic will always deal with social reality. He will never touch objective truth.
What was social about that?
He will never answer the objective truth. Where did free will come from? What makes people different from an alligator, from bacteria? What designated? If you say it's something in the brain, what is that? Is it at 122 billion neuron synapses? That's when free will exists? Or is it 123 billion synapses? What about the bacteria in your stomach that sends enzymes and proteins to your brain, telling you what food you need?
So wait, you gonna give me a biological process that I don't have control over as proven no free will?
Perfect example. Did y'all hear that? A biological process that you do not have control over. That's the argument. What is free will?
Yeah, we are still trying to hash that out. We are still trying to hash that out. The free will conversation literally boils down to that moment in time when a person has the ability to make a decision unimpeded. They may be able to incorporate their past experiences, but their past experiences are not impeding them from making a decision. It may heavily sway a person's decision. Some of their biology may heavily sway a person's decision, but it doesn't inhibit their decision, right? Like if you're allergic to peanuts, you can eat peanuts.
And now we have just answered the question. There is no free will. I appreciate what you just said, Ajik. I agree wholeheartedly. It absolutely nothing in this world is without cause. Everything you do is a causeless cause. The only concept of a causeless cause that we know of is God.
I don't know how I proved it. I could have sworn what I just said was until the moment of time where you have a person able to make decisions, right? Like that. Nothing what I said can be used against me just simply by that statement alone, right there, right? You have the ability to hold other people accountable because they are responsible for their actions. They did decide to commit the intentional foul. Like there is an absolute layer there of intent that cannot be ignored. Now, if you intent, you want to boil that down to a social mechanism, cool. Well, I'm saying unwind it from society. Tell me that I didn't get punched in the face on accident or on purpose, and I was right there and I saw him cock his arm back and do whatever he did. Like that's not subjective. That literally would be something that's happening, right? Like so, in order for you to be able to prove it with biology, right? I'm trying to stay on topic because you're running around all over the place. In order for you to be able to prove it with biology, right? You still have the problem of being able to duplicate it. So what are you saying? That you can take all my molecules and loose, rearrange and put them back together and have a perfect copy doing the exact same stuff that I would have done? Is that what biology is claiming that they had the ability to do?
That is a fallacious argument in God of the Gaps.
Let me just ask you. I mean,
first thing I said was that science cannot predict where every single molecule in the universe is at. Now you want me to prove that we can predict where every single molecule is at and then replicate that. That's like saying that because science can't at this present time prove abiogenesis, that abiogenesis didn't happen, that we have found that the God stepped in and said, woof, now we have man.
I'm trying to get you to pin down to something.
I will not be pinned
your argument is super loose right now, right? Like when I say the MRI machine don't show you why, it's got limitations and stuff on it. Are there any limitations at all in biology when it comes to being able to predict somebody? Like, what's the superior technology biology has over that?
I highly doubt someone born with no legs will get up and run. I doubt that. So yes, biology plays a damn part of it.
But you're talking about limitations. You're not talking about a person's will. You're not talking about do they want to run?
Right. See, that's what I'm saying.
Are they free to want to run? Are they free to do that? Or is something impeding them?
I appreciate that right there. The definition of free will is the ability to make a decision without any outside influences. And I just said a person with no legs, that counts as an outside influence. I don't get why you keep going back to this social reality part. My point
because I'm still trying to get you to just tell me what biology offers. Like what is the technology biology gives that neuroscience doesn't give to solve the problem? That's the question. You're running around, you ain't answering.
That's for you to find out. See, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Y'all want to know what the truth is?
What's the wrong with presenting it, John?
Yeah,
go ahead, man.
Brother, go ahead and tell the truth.
I'm going to tell you. The truth of the matter is this. It's very clear.
Hello.
Everybody mute up.
Sakina, Rob, peace up. The issue is this. We are in the Discord and we hold conversations and we're always talking about Sapolsky. And so Logic is building his case off of Sapolsky. The problem is that Sapolsky is my man. I like his work, but that ain't the only thing I'm talking about. So there are numerous of other people who make similar arguments using different fields of science, and I'm going to present all those fields. I'm not going to just use neurology. I'm not just going to use genetics. I'm not just going to use biology. I'm going to use astrophysics, chemistry. I'm going to go down the whole path. I'm going to take you on a journey of the world, just like they say, what is it? The greatest story ever told until now. Oh,
Right,
is that another
right.
book?
But you,
Elijah, keep it the last
but
comment,
you,
then we moving forward.
but you still ain't, but you still
what you
ain't
said
told
there.
me.
I like
You
how
ain't, you still ain't told me what biology is gonna be able to produce. But what would they even have to produce?
make
Like
a statement. Don't ask a
I
question.
can't even wrap my head around it. Like for real, for real. Like I understand that in physics, right? Physics, they build stuff, so they would be able to, possibly make a robot or something, or something that simulates or is like a direct copy, right? Like I can understand maybe how physics could solve the problem, but I mean, are you saying that biology can replicate the brain and all of its functions and dismantle it and put it back together and make it work just like our normal brain do? Like I mean, look, I've told you kind of like where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I'm really just holding back what it says on the screen, but I've already told you that science ain't there yet. So I'm trying to see what are you talking about when you say science is there?
I will tell you that what science knows now,
last response.
is that there are certain conditions that will then predict a likelihood of a person doing certain acts, and that it is well documented. And not only that, but that it is also being positively selected for in certain populations who live in certain environments in which it's beneficial.
Okay, moving forward. Let me get Cedric in. Let's get these other questions. I want to say something real quick because I'm going to ask the last question after Sakina, Ra, and Miss Tip. This is probably the most stimulating conversation that I've seen. This is the kind of stuff that the pseudo killers produce. High level intelligent conversations. This is good. I'm very happy. Cedric, ask a question. I'm gonna tell y'all now. Y'all only have 2 minutes to answer because we pushing almost 2 hours, and I want to get out of here before 2 hours 15. So go ahead, Cedric. Ask your question. Y'all got 2 minutes to respond.
I'm gonna skip my turnover because I don't have a question. I really have a
make a statement.
What we're seeing here on display from my brother Logic. The reason why I asked the question I asked, the difference between determinism and deterministic, or to determine or predetermine, because these are two fundamentally different concepts. And we see that Logic is using the wrong definition when addressing determinism, which actually means that he doesn't understand what determinism entails. Furthermore, begging the question, category fallacies, and Marcus is pointing that out constantly. We're having a scientific discussion, which is talking about objective reality, how the brain actually works. And you're having a subjective conversation about the consequences if there is no free will. But you're failing to start at the beginning point. The hypothesis is free will. Free will was never demonstrated, was never established. It was an idea, imagination, a philosophical concept which had no empirical data. To test that hypothesis, we use the modern advance of
Hey,
science.
Cedric.
And
I apologize, yo. That shit was fire, yo. I just picked up what the hell y'all been talking about the whole damn time, yo. Really? Really, yo? It was a religious film? Really? Wow. Dang.
the position that Logic is taking is based on dualism, which says mind and body are separate. Compatibilism is the tool that fits dualism firmly into this philosophical conversation. So if you don't even understand the components of the philosophical discussion logic, you got a lot of homework to do for this debate, my brother.
All right, good question. Good question. Do me a favor, if you're done, I need you to drop down just to give other people the opportunity to come in. Joe, I need you to stay. All right, we're gonna move to Miss Tiff. Go ahead and ask your question. Official lady killer official pseudo killer.
Well,
Miss Tiff.
I have a lot of thoughts about this topic. Got your back, Logic.
I appreciate it.
I'm with Logic on this one. And my question is around determinism. And Marcus, I guess it's for you, but Logic, if you have anything to say. How do I phrase this? So some of the material that I have come across, it talks about, and some of the things that have been brought up in our discussions have been about how everything that we do is predetermined by one action before another action and another action. So my question is, how far do those actions go back? Right. And so there are some physicists that I've heard, or neuroscientists I've heard say, are we talking about this going all the way back to the Big Bang? At what point did these pre-events happen that determine our actions today? What say you, Marcus?
So there is a debate to what degree we're talking about, because there's always emerging properties, right? And emerging properties can have unique effects. One of those type of, and then you also have the butterfly effect. That's another thing that plays a role in this. But ultimately, if you're looking at it from physicists or you're looking at it from natural scientists, ultimately what they're saying is that while there is a perception of choice, as if I made a choice with unimpeded without any outside influences, there are numerous of influences that your brain is already processing that you're unaware of. And because of that, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. I don't need mine.
Remember, I asked about the Big Bang. I want to know if it goes back to the Big Bang. Okay.
Great question.
We are, as Carl Sagan said, made of star stuff. When you look at, I don't want to give that up. I'll say this. I'll say that if an astrophysicist is talking to you, they're going to talk to you from the astrophysicist point of view. And if a biologist is talking to you, they're going to talk to you from a biologist's point of view. And if a neurologist is talking to you, he's going to talk to you from a neurologist's point of view. Ultimately, all matter was created during the expansion period. And we are made of that same matter. I'll leave it at that.
That didn't answer my question, but thank you. What say you, Logic?
What was your question? My phone keeps going out.
My
Yeah,
problem,
Marcus been mishearing them questions all night.
My problem with the whole idea.
The ropes.
Yeah, my problem with this whole deterministic thing is how far do these events go back to? And I can understand that I don't see it as a straight line. I understand that it could be crisscrossed and all that, but there's still that line. Because if we say our parents taught us this, their parents taught us that, I mean, that's gonna go back to the first. I don't know. It has to go back to the first moment. And so that's my biggest problem with the whole determinist argument.
Right.
But yeah, what do you feel about that, Logic?
I'm in total agreement. That's what the premise of determinism is, and whether Cedric knows it or not, right? Whether Cedric has read it or not, even though that's my guy. Don't y'all get it twisted out there. This is what we do in private normally, but absolutely, it would have to have been predestined from the point of the Big Bang, and nothing could have been done any any other way. That's exactly what hard determinism is. It doesn't leave room for the flexibility. It doesn't say it definitely doesn't leave room for the future to be flexible any more than it does the past, because it's all been determined already. Like from just like my actions would have been predetermined from the Big Bang, you have to say the same thing about my son's actions and his son's actions. It's all determined. Like
Which is
it's
also
not.
a religious argument, and that's my plane. I landed my plane.
Look, I mean, I've been
We're
I've
not
been
going to do that.
trying.
We not
I
going to
have
do
been
that, Miss
trying to
Tiff.
hold up, Marcus. Hold up, Marcus. This is. I've been trying to say that you have not moved from a philosophical conversation to a scientific conversation. Now you touched on biology a little bit, right? You touched on biology a little bit. I haven't really looked at biology yet. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm very curious as to what I could take right now from the leading biologists in the world, what you could give me that I could go to court and be like, evidence, I did not have control over myself. I'm very curious to that. Very, very curious to that. What could a neuroscientist give me right now out of his brain scan that I could take right down to the courtroom and use as evidence, or even take it to the peers and use it as evidence? I could lighten it up a little bit and say, do they just agree upon it in the field? You ain't got to take it to court just yet. And I'm telling you, it ain't in there. It
I
ain't
mean,
in there.
one is schizophrenia. I mean, you can use that in court to show that a person ain't able to control. You just talking about anything, or you talking about?
I mean, I'll take it. Schizophrenia, but schizophrenia is a brain condition where it's already agreed that this person isn't operating normally. So when it comes
Mm.
down to them making decisions, their decisions gonna be a little off whack too. So
All right, let's
we
get this.
talking. We got to at least be using a baseline of normal people, of normal people making decisions based off of the past without the impedance, right? Such as a brain injury, Down syndrome, schizophrenia, like that's what it is, right? So the problem with actually what Marcus is saying is that even if I took the schizophrenic person, and as sporadic as their behavior may be, that I should be able to take a sample, recreate this person's brain with either physics, biology, or neuroscience, and be able to predict their next move. That's exactly what he's saying. That's
Okay,
the
Again,
that's
I
the
think
see that's the short version. See,
again,
that's what the short version sounds like without all the flim flam in it.
again,
For
Say that
real.
again. Hold on. Say it again. Say it again.
So
point.
so what I'm saying is
You
that
said something about predicting biology. What?
right. So what I'm saying is that he would have to be able to show what it that the leading biologist in the world could
Mm-hmm.
do whatever he does, take a sample,
Mm-hmm.
recreate the brain, recreate everything he would need, whatever he
Okay.
would need, we give it to him, and say that he's going to duplicate me and my actions. He's going to be able to predict me tomorrow, next week, next year. That's exactly what he's going to be able to do. And I'm saying it ain't in biology, it ain't in neuroscience, and it ain't in
You gotta make me
what was
Hey,
it?
understand that.
hey, hey,
So
Logic,
like
one
a
thing.
cloning. Hold on for a minute, Kent. You mean like cloning? Because they can definitely clone.
No, I'm not talking about cloning.
Nah,
We're talking.
but
You know what? Let me just go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about decisions, not just a person that looks just like
So
me. We're talking
so
about a person who is me, who has all of my experiences, and not necessarily all my experiences, but makes the exact same decisions that I would make in any given circumstance,
so
whether it
why would
be
he have to
today,
recreate it?
whether it be last year, or whether it be 10 years from now.
But why would he have to recreate you? You saying to test it?
No, to be able to
to predict,
confirm,
to
Hold on,
predict.
babe, confirm what? To predict
to be
what?
able to be able to confirm that they can accurately predict my next move.
But
No,
that's
they don't
not
say
actually
that.
how that's not how actually, given the same set of circumstances in nature, it'll produce something totally different.
The world is changing every day, isn't it?
No, you get my point though. So you couldn't predict it because you could be the same organism in the same place and some alleles or whatever variation, and it'd be different. So you would never be able to do that that's not actually how evolution works, though. You know what I'm
But
saying?
But
that's what the claim would have to be. How how else would you confirm it? See, I've got
Well,
people,
like
I've got them saying that that's what they would need. I've heard what they
You
said
heard people
against
said that.
benchmark. I've heard
So
people say that this is what you would need to be able to prove that.
okay.
I absolutely have
So
that
wait a
more
minute. Wait a
organized with
minute.
debate.
Do you agree with the aspect of the brain though, and how the brain is just it wasn't for thinking, it was for your body budget? Does that make any
Yeah,
sense?
that makes perfect sense.
Well, then you can't agree to that. Then you can't agree that makes perfect sense, and you just gotta be able to connect the dots. Because if you saying that, how many people is going to agree to that? I'm sitting here actually thinking that my brain is here for thinking, and you sitting there telling me it's not. It's for some kind of body budget. And so now, the point is back on evolution again. Absolutely positively that is about managing your energy. You know what I'm saying? Right? And say, where does your energy come from? It comes from outside stimuli, outside food, energy.
mhm,
So that's all we really doing. And the other stuff, like I keep saying, it would have to be an illusion that we it seems that we need
byproduct.
it. Yeah, it's a
Yeah, by,
byproduct. Like we actually need to humans, you need to at least feel love, even if it's not real. So if a person is lying like they love you, right? It that doesn't even matter as long as getting stimulated like that.
help you reproduce.
Yeah. It don't, yeah, it ain't about you get it, is to help you reproduce. So it's but why would you have to reproduce?
I'm
Well,
Genes.
actually I'm following
Pass on the
what you're saying,
genes.
but
yeah, the past on
I'm
the
I'm
gene. So
actually
so so it all boils down to not being able to like we think, you know what I'm saying, have free will. It's all about reproducing. So in a reproduction, you just would simply need an illusion that you're making decisions. But at the end of the day, there is no decision. You're gonna have sex.
Oh, you're giving them too much, huh?
I
Nah,
got a
no, hold on. I'm
question.
not. No, I'm saying I stayed
I
away
know
from
what
your
you're saying.
conversation on purpose, though. I
No,
just want to see if
I
I
know
can
what you're
rock
Say
you
saying.
that
through
question.
evolution.
Say
That's
what you
all.
just said again, Unc. Say that last piece.
I said, like, you actually have no choice whether you're gonna have sex or not,
Right. So
because your genes are
what
trying to
you
produce themselves. You have no choice in that.
no. So right. So there's a separation. There's a separation in some in like your package that you're born with, such as like your family, your genetics. Like that's going to be included. I can definitely include that in your genetics, right? But what we're talking about is a lot deeper than that, and it's much
It ain't
more of
no
a
deeper than
concept.
that, though.
It is deeper than that.
I
Do
went to
I
the
have
simple thing. It's not. It's reproducing. That's
it?
it. No, there is no other reason, dog. And
No,
every
I
watch
hear
this.
you on that.
I'm just gonna say this. Everything when you talk about evolution, right? Like the reason why a person would actually cry, right, is based off reproduction. The reason your skin color is the skin color is based off reproduction. That's how you figure out something is evolutionary, because it's gonna be. It has to be proven that it's based off of reproduction. I promise you, yo. Everything, the way your hands, your hands gave you an advantage to put you in a space where you could reproduce. I promise you, yo. That's evolution in a nutshell. So it's like if you get, I like to simplify shit. If you simplify it all the way down to that part, yeah, like nigga, you don't need no free will for that. You just
But
need
you
an
could be
illusion of it.
you could
So
be
look, let me
oversimplifying.
talk
Hold
for
on,
a
Joe.
second,
Hold on,
Joe.
Yeah,
Joe.
I'm done. I'm
Let me
done.
talk for
Hold
a
on.
second.
Stop. Let logic go. Then we're gonna get Sakina, ask her question. Then Joe. Then we're gonna call it. We've been out here
I
There
have a
2
question
hours.
though.
there
Okay,
is
one
a
second, Joe.
difference
Okay.
between your package that you arrive on Earth with, right? As I just said, a good example of like the family you was born into, right? Some of your you may have a biological disposition, like having no legs. You may have a cultural disposition, like being born a black African American. You do have some of these things that are given to you, right? But I'm saying that that doesn't prevent you from having the power to make your own decision, right? It doesn't prevent you from moving to Japan and adopting a new culture. It doesn't prevent you from maybe being away from your wife and being able to contain your sexual urges. That it doesn't. You have the ability to suppress that desire, right? Like just as much as you had the ability to to give into it, you had the ability to say no to it, unless we're talking about extreme conditions such as he mentioned it earlier, schizophrenia person, right? They're not in full control of all of those things. Um, shit, I kind of lost my train of thought after I said that, but there are other situations where you're clearly not going to be in control because of your limitations. But these are just limitations. You may your previous experiences and things like that you may limit your choices, but they don't impede you from making choices, right? They don't stop you from saying I would rather vote for Clinton or rather vote for Trump. You still have the ability to weigh those options and make a decision on your own, and your biology is not doing that. Your ability to perceive the world and respond to it is actually what's doing that. You actually are driving the car. It's the car. You're not just a passenger. You actually are the one driving the car.
Okay,
So
let's get.
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
Hold on, Marcus. Don't so because we don't want to give away too many. We had 2 hours.
Yeah, like there is
10
still a
minutes.
debate coming. Let's ease up now.
Let's Sakina get in there.
Let Sakina get a question.
Peace, everybody. Thank you so much. I want to agree and just say that right now I want to tell y'all that everybody, for what I know, because I was on one side, but right now free will is more so this perspective. Because right now with logic going the way he going, understanding where you coming from, you saying free will has this ability and you forget about the disabled. So even though you have this ability to do all of this, and you use schizophrenia as the ones that have, although they have the ability through medication and whatnot, but you forgot about therapy because they're still disabled. So my original question was about people with dyslexia. Now they see things upside down. And so they have to receive therapy, and that's a handicap, like when you bowling, handicap.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to go through therapy so that you can be able to, because they need help. You really can't help somebody see something right side up when they see it upside down.
No, we already see it upside down, Zakina.
Right.
They thing don't change for them. That's the problem.
See, and so you can't will your way out of that ability. And see, this is the things you asking Marcus, but you got to turn around and ask yourself. So if he got to prove it can't happen, you got to prove it can.
Right.
You forgot that part. So no, wait a minute. Let me finish.
Go ahead. I thought you was done.
This is where things ain't all that logic or logical, because we gotta not ask people to do something that we're not able to do, because then you become disabled, right? And so that's why that body budget that we was talking about with that flight with the will, that's where it is with the brain. And that brain budget with that will is a fight or flight, because either you're willing or you're not to survive. Either you're able or you're not.
Okay.
So that's why I understand where Marcus is coming from.
Right. So let me try to address that before you put a whole bunch more on me.
That's where Unc was coming from, and Brass.
I get where I'm coming from. Well, hold on. Let me try to address.
Let her finish.
I'm trying for her not to pile on the points so I can respond to him. I don't want to. I don't want her to mount up 3-4
Write them down, Logic.
Write down your point. Let her land her plane.
You like your free will right now, my brother.
Oh, y'all stupid.
Yeah,
let's go. Hey, I just want to hit the sister go a little bit. Let her go.
Let her finish.
Go ahead, Sakina.
Right,
don't cry now. You all right?
So all I want to just land with you, right?
No,
because
Sakina.
When you seeing it upside down in the back of your eye, you see it upside down, and then bringing it in, you see it right side up, and you can't do that on your own free will. But if you can, I want you to explain that.
Oh, that was interesting right there. That was a good left hook.
Right. So what you're describing is a person's genetic disposition, right? Meaning as like that's what they arrived here on Earth with, right? Like they absolutely.
You was born with that. You didn't arrive here on earth. You came out the womb that way.
Yeah, so you came out the room that way. You're correct. So what I'm saying is that yes, you don't have control over that as a factor of your existence. You can't change that. It's a part of your biological makeup. But so the conversation is that there are two people with dyslexia, right? One person decides to get treatment, goes to college and becomes whoever he becomes, the president. The person standing right next to him on the same block, right, also has dyslexia, and they are, you know, in and out of jail for the rest of their life. The argument that Marcus is explaining is that through biology, through neuroscience, or through I keep forgetting the third discipline, physics, right? That he can in an early point of both of these people's lives, right, before they get to the point where they're making a decision to be able to either further their education or whatever they do, that he can examine both of those people and tell me exactly which one is going to become president, and whichever one goes to jail over and over again. And that's what I'm saying he does not have the ability to do. But he's also claiming that both of these people's end result has already been determined by human nature. Did you get what I'm saying when I said that? So no, the person absolutely has limitations on their physical ability based on their biology, based on how they were born, the situation that they were born in, don't have control over that. But both of those two people independently can end up in two different places, and both of them are already determined. So what the proof would be, right? What the evidence would have to be is that you can take both of those people at an early stage of their life, examine them, scan them, however you want to be able to do it, and determine which one of those people will become president and which one of them would become the failure.
Okay, I think one of the debaters dropped off. Did Marcus drop off?
Yeah, he had the
Okay, yeah,
he
I
had
know
some
he said
things
he
he
had.
had to.
Okay,
No,
so
he
let's.
coming back. He coming back.
Are you
Hold
gonna
on a
jump
second.
back in? Okay, Logic. How much more time you got? Because I know you out there with Kanye.
I'm
and
good.
Montana.
I'm good. We don't got nothing going on tonight.
Okay, so this
Can
is
I
what
ask
we're
a
gonna do.
question?
Since I'm gonna go right to you, Juju. This is what we're gonna do. Because we got more questions, we're gonna pretty much just throw the time limit out the window, and we're just gonna keep this thing going because this is a good high level conversation.
Let's
So I
keep it
don't know if
rocking, yo. I'm having a good time.
Yeah. So
Logic got the fire emojis in the
because
chat.
you know what it is. You know what I like about this though. I think everybody was underestimating Logic, but
Facts.
Logic is cooking. But go ahead, Juju. Then we can
Logic
go
came
to
in
Joel.
armored.
Go
So
ahead,
I
Luke.
mean,
Go
I
ahead,
hope
Juju.
this is not
I'm
confusing.
gonna just let y'all know I did. My bad, Juju. I'm gonna be real quick. I'm just let
Thank
y'all
you for
know
your
I'm laying low right now. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm
He
just
said
trying
he
to
laying
tell you
low.
I'm being super modest right
He
now.
said this ain't nothing.
Wait, what'd you say? You said you being super what?
Say you laying
Super
low.
modest. Super modest right
Modest.
now,
Woo!
He
yo.
said,
I
Logic
will
said
say
this
your
ain't
ad
nothing.
homs are very
He
sharp.
just shooting with BB gun right now. He ain't even pulled
Marcus
out the
might be-
gas.
Your ad homs are
He
very
ain't
sharp.
saying nothing.
Your ad
He
homs
ain't
are very
saying nothing.
sharp. Go ahead, Juju.
Oh,
Ask your question.
man.
Thank you, Sakina. You can stay if it's nobody in the back.
I actually really like that question, Sakina. Go ahead, Juju.
Can I answer a question? Can I answer something?
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
man. Y'all
How
let me
you
know when
leave
I'm
as
ready.
Marcus and come back as Reggie?
Like he had to come back.
Yeah, that I'm using a different device. I think I want to give you all a prime example of what the issue is in this conversation. When we look out in the middle of the day, we will say the sky is blue. That's what we will say. The reason why that is
Your phone breaking up,
Your
bro.
technology is effed up, though.
I had to run it
Your
back. Came back
phone
as a
has
Reggie
no free will.
incarnated.
Hey,
we say it's
Don't
either
do
red or
him.
green.
Don't do him.
These are all
Oh, but hold on, Mark. You gotta run it back because
Marcus, you got to
we
go
ain't here.
back. Your phone cut out.
Yeah.
okay. Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay, I'm gonna let Juju ask a question. Juju, go ahead.
I mean, this is for both Marcus and Logic.
Logic,
if
just go
it
first.
makes any sense, if it does apply, how does chaos theory affect your argument?
I'm not sure what chaos theory is.
First, say what chaos theory is.
I'll just read the definition.
Okay.
If I can get one that's.
In the meantime, man, y'all hit that like button, man. Like I said, if y'all want some more content like this with the debates, man, you know, we try to check the analytics. Y'all keep on supporting, man, and commenting in the chat.
The high level conversation.
High
Yo.
level
Keep
conversation.
saying debates, man. I hate
Everybody.
that word, man. That ain't
Oh,
what
my
it
bad,
is.
my bad.
High level.
Everybody else do debates, yo. We have high level conversations, yo.
Sure indeed.
Hey, drop the link for Kyle, Kent.
All right, got you, dog. Hold on.
Am I clear now?
Yeah, you good, bro?
Yeah, go
So,
ahead. But
Oh, go
Juju was
ahead,
asking
Juju.
y'all a question. Just hold off, Marcus.
Yeah,
Juju's asking.
I heard her question. Her quick about chaos theory. She go ahead and read the definition.
so I'm gonna give it to you in simple. Chaos theory states that within the apparent randomness of chaotic, complex systems, there are underlying patterns, interconnections, constant feedback loops, repetition, self-similarity, fractals, and self-organization. Just, it's a state of randomness, so to speak, within what we want to say is somewhat predetermined. Is still like somewhat a state of randomness. Like once one thing is changed or one implication is changed, and it changes the total outcome. Chaos theory.
So
Butterfly effect is an example of that.
I mentioned that earlier. I explained that logic doesn't know about that by what he's saying. But I'll tell you a story, right? There was a weatherman who wanted to predict hurricanes. And so he ran, this is back, I think it was like the 60s, 70s, when they still had those big, humongous computers that took up a whole room. Um, he wanted to do this prediction model. And in doing the prediction model, it ran for about a day and a half. And then he came back and he said, "Oh man, I wanted to reset it, leave, and come back." So he reset it, put in the code, but he left off maybe the last 3 or 4 digits. By leaving off the last 3 or 4 digits, he ended up with a different model. That's the second time chaos theory was brought up. I just wanted to let y'all know I'm fully aware of it. The reason why chaos theory is important to determinism is because what I said from the beginning. You would have to, in order for in order for us to clearly get a deterministic prediction model, we would need to know where every single molecule in the universe is at one specific time. But nevertheless, because we don't know where every single molecule is at a point in time in the universe, that does not mean we can't land a spaceship on an asteroid. That's two separate issues. And so what I am arguing is ultimately that free will is the idea that somehow or another people are subjectively different than any other organism on the planet Earth. And I just don't agree with that.
Oh shit.
No one would say lions have free will. No one would say
Oh
deer have
shit.
free will. Nobody says that. But all of a sudden, people magically got free will. I just don't get it.
Oh, that was
That's
deep right there.
All right, Logic, respond to that. But I will tell you this: that was a Mike Tyson haymaker. Go ahead, Logic.
I'm about to do the Muhammad Ali pullback right quick.
Let's get it.
Look,
Okay.
Oh snap!
because at no point in time, right, I'm sure none of us in the Discord would agree that science has all the answers, right? We already know that, right? So what the problem is it almost sounds as if Marcus is going with the notion or expecting me to go with the notion that science has actually come so far along that they're actually able to confirm any of the things that he's actually saying. They sound great in concept, Absolutely do. Except, I mean, of course, except for the part of no responsibility that we ain't really touched on just yet. But at the same time, you're talking about molecules, and they have a hard time understanding molecules to this day. They don't know what an electron is, right? They don't understand all the inner workings of how the brain works, and how all of these systems are connected to to one another, or they haven't even figured out action in the brain, right? Like they haven't figured out some of the basics about just moving your body in the brain, right? Like they haven't figured that out yet. If they did figure it out, then they could independently construct the brain and outside the body and have it make arm go up and down all day. They can't do that. They can't do that. So I'm trying to figure out where we can actually start to make this a scientific conversation, because science doesn't have the ability to be able to confirm any of the things that you're saying. I'm gonna read a little quote right here from one of my sources, right? Given how little we know about the brain, mind and brain action connections, to claim that we should radically change our concepts of ourselves and our legal doctrines and practices based on neuroscience is a form of neural arrogance. Although I predict that in the future, we may see far more numerous attempts to use neuroscience in adjudication and law reform, I have elsewhere argued that the concept in science for reasoning. I'm just reading something. I have elsewhere argued that for conceptual and scientific reasons, there is no reason at present to believe that we are not agents. It is possible that we're not agents, but currently in science we cannot remotely demonstrate this to be true. The burden of persuasion firmly lies in the proponents of the radical view. So the court is actually saying that the burden of proof to be able to disprove how we normally operate, right, is solely on science at this point. And the way the court operates is they are looking for ways to be more accurate. They are looking through all the scientific resources, and they would incorporate it if they had significant evidence that they could predict people's actions. But currently, they don't. Now, as it says right there, in the future, they're optimistic, but they ain't got there yet. So I'm trying to figure out if they have not found the proof to be able to use it. I'm trying to figure out what Marcus got that them people ain't got.
Last
So that's
What
a
what what Marcus
that
gonna be
He
able to
said he
show us
pulled it
about
right.
that
biology
He said he
that
that them people don't know about the biology? What
listen
what is it that you
that
got that good?
that's a beautiful quote. The problem is what I said from the get go. Logic thinks I'm only going to come from neurology. I just told y'all I'm not. And so, yes, neurology is just one piece of a long conversation, just one piece of a multiplicity of disciplines that need to be had in order for you to come to a conclusion. And so, I am not just talking about neurology. Neurology has some pieces of the puzzle, but
Mm.
so do physics. So does biology. It's like anthropology. No one would say that anthropology is just a single subject. It's a multidisciplinary approach. And so I'm
You
coming
know
from a multidisciplinary approach.
you know who else said that? Mm-hmm. You know.
You talking
You
about Reggie?
you know you know who
Elijah,
else
real
be
quick.
saying that. Go ahead.
Elijah, real quick. What I didn't hear you was he gave me something that was real slick, yo. And he said that humans are like any other living organisms,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And so basically, what he's saying is that when you look at any living thing, you're basically looking at the same thing, and it's an illusion to make you think that thing is different. It's just diversified in this environment, but it's a living organisms.
Mm-hmm.
All
Mm-hmm.
subjected to the same laws of nature as any other living organism. So so you didn't actually address that. So if a lion don't got free will, and an ant don't got free will, and a tiger and a bear and a chimpanzee which share 98%, DNA with humans, don't got don't got that, right? And they regularly routinely say that was actually a religious type of concept or philosophical concept of free will. putting them things together, yo, how can you actually explain that, yo?
Their brains not
Because
developed like ours, oh.
so because
What'd you
it's
say? What'd
because
you
of
say?
it's be,
What?
he
What'd you
says
say?
their brains aren't like ours. I can't go
Oh,
with
so
that,
that's what it
Joel.
is? So that's the brain?
That's what Joel said. I ain't say that.
Yeah,
All right, so
That's
listen, listen.
I
Can I ask
definitely
a
ain't say that.
question right quick?
Yeah,
I gotta
and real
answer
quick,
him
hold on,
first.
hold on, Logic.
I need that answer.
Hold
I
on,
gotta
real
answer him
quick.
first.
Sakina, no, we ending at 2 hours and 30 minutes. We got to save something because this is only an informal weigh-in. Sakina,
Nah, you
ask
gotta
a
let
quick.
me answer that, man.
Let me finish, and then
You
Sakina,
trying
you
to
can
take
ask
over
a.
the show,
I
bro? Come
am,
on, man.
I most certainly am. Yes, I am, because we've been here 2.5 hours, and the analytics they ain't even listening at 2 hours 31 minutes. So listen, Sakina, ask a quick question, which y'all both have a chance to respond, and then we're going to end it after this. We got more content to do, Logic. Go ahead, Sakina.
Okay, my question is, y'all breaking up the free will into pieces. Like when you talk about lions and chimps and stuff don't have free will, and I've heard quotes like "being free as a bird," etc. And then y'all also breaking it into like concepts and religions and whatnot. But the word free will itself is a compound word, as in free, and then the word as in will. So how do y'all explain those two concepts separately, as in free being free, and then as will being the word as in will? But yeah, y'all break the word when you get into free will, y'all dissect that word into characteristics as a total. How do y'all do that?
Go ahead, Logic. Or do you understand the question?
No,
I
I
think it's
perfectly understand the question. That's actually a very, very, very good question. Actually, a
Okay.
very, very, very good question. I might not be prepared to answer that. But she's absolutely correct. You have to. There absolutely is some more nuance to the conversation when you break down all the words. It's just that at least I started out by saying, I'm sure, hopefully everybody didn't forget, but in the philosophy conversation that we're currently having, we haven't bridged the gap and made the scientific part yet. But in philosophy, they do debate on these definitions, and depending on who you're talking to, is going to be different, right? If you're talking to compatibilists, they're going to have their own definition, and all of them don't agree, right? You're talking to determinists, they're going to have their own definition, and again, all of them don't agree. There's another sector that neither one of us represents called the libertarians, and they don't all agree on what free will is.
Good point.
So we're talking about a conversation that even inside the field that it originated in have not reached a solid front, or all agreeing even on the definitions of what we're talking about, more or less able to be able to confirm, whether it be through science, multidisciplinary, or philosophy, just by itself, that they have actually confirmed any one of these three directions.
That's a
Good
So
good
point.
that's a
That's a
part of
good.
the problem.
That was a very
That's a
good point. That was a
that's a
great point.
problem. That's a big part of the problem, right? So, like, the audience may not be aware of that, and Marcus should definitely be aware of that, right? I'm sure he is, which is, that's him. That's his position that he's actually chosen. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Okay,
Unless you
good.
want me to answer Unc's question, 'cause
No, I
I'm
don't.
still chomping at the
Marcus.
bit for that.
Okay, we can do it in the Discord. Just not. We got to save some of this content too. Go ahead,
I ain't
Marcus. You
say
want to
no, I
address that?
don't.
absolutely. I don't separate the words, and that, I think that's the argument. Compatibilists want to change the definition. They want to say it's no longer free will but free decision. So it's not that you have a will. Listen, to do something other than what you would have done. Is now, well, you get the ability to choose between two options. But the basic principle of where free will came from, the basic principle is very simple, that you have the ability to make a decision outside of any outside influence. And then based on that, that means you have agency. You are responsible for all your actions. And because of that, we place judgment on you. That is ultimately where it came from. But I need us to understand that this is a social constructed argument. It never was based in biology. And because of that, now that biology is saying, wait a minute, what about your genes? Wait a minute, what about epigenetics? Wait a minute, what about stress? Wait a minute, what about glucose and fructose levels? Wait a minute, what about all these other factors? Wait a minute, what about if it's nighttime versus daytime and you got two different hormones being produced?
Mm,
What
mm.
what is that? What do you mean? Wait, we know what that is. We know about oxytocin and serotonin. We know what the love hormones do. Wait a minute, why when we give you
Oh man.
He was
Yeah,
cooking too.
you were hitting them too hard, man. Got to back up off of. Get
Black
up
Folk
off me,
Power.
Marcus.
Man, that nigga, my man
Get
ain't
up
even
off me,
say nothing just
Marcus.
yet, yo.
Hey, so listen, we ain't
Look,
Hey,
gonna
look,
that,
look.
that
we,
was a
we ain't
good.
gonna
Hold on,
Let me just
no,
give
no,
a
logic,
short
because it's
answer.
gonna go on forever, bro. It's gonna go on forever, so we got
yeah,
to
we
end it at
gotta
some
Hey,
stop,
point.
look,
bro.
I ain't gonna never be able to win if I gotta fight the ref, yo. That's just
Nah,
keeping it a beat.
I'm not the
nah, you ain't
referee.
fighting the ref.
I'm not the referee. I'm the host. You just not respecting it. We good. We good. This is only informal, Logic. You don't shoot all your guns in a weigh-in. The fight don't happen in the lobby of the MGM. It happens in the arena. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Does anybody have any final words? We're gonna talk in the Discord after this anyway, Logic.
And
Yeah, I
listen,
do. I
go
think
ahead.
this is going to be an excellent discussion and debate. I tell you, we shouldn't miss this one. It's going to be good. I did a fact check on Logic. Logic hit me with something that I wasn't ready for. That involuntary movement. So I went, at the National Library of Health. I found the article. I'm gonna drop it in the Discord.
Okay.
But that was some pretty deep information. So I already started my fact checking. But this was good, man. I'm gonna jump off. This was good.
Okay. Anything Juju? Anything Sakina? Anything Kent?
Yes, I appreciate y'all having me. This was a real awesome conversation as always. I love these bills. Y'all do so wonderful. I appreciate it. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
you,
me
sir.
up.
Thank you, and we appreciate your support, Sakina. I just want to say that you always been supportive, and I appreciate everything you do for us.
Yes, y'all be killing it. I love it. Thank y'all for having me.
Official Lady Killer Juju, you got anything before we go?
Only thing I gotta say is that was indeed a fire discussion. Both of y'all are really bringing it. Can't even wait for the debate. And just make sure y'all like and share the show and spread the word to what's coming in the future. Yeah.
And I can't see the icon. Is that God Killer?
Nah, that's me. I think that's Marcus just came back in. If you're looking at
Okay, Marcus, do you want to
bottom
say
left.
anything, or can you say anything before we go? If not, we're gonna go ahead and head out.
yeah, where did I drop off at on that last
Nah,
one?
you good. Nah, you
No,
good.
you
Let it in
good.
like
Just take us out. Take us out. You
that.
good. Just take us out. We're gonna go
Oh,
in the
okay,
Discord
okay.
later.
I just I'm gonna leave it at this. I respect everyone's subjective experiences. And I think it's a healthy thing that you believe in intentionality and agency. I think that's a healthy thing because it helps us build society that does not neglect um, objective reality. It does not
Okay.
negate that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, yo,
Okay,
man, I
peace.
appreciate
I want to see y'all in the Discord.
hold on, Brandon.
Logic
Let me
and
get my
Marcus, let's
little.
meet up in the room real quick after the Discord.
Hold on,
Oh, go ahead, Kent.
hold on, Brandon. Let me get.
Go ahead, G. I apologize.
Nah, you good. Hey, man, Marcus and Logic, man, I appreciate both y'all brothers for even doing this, man. I think it's a great conversation. I think the audience liked it. Appreciate everybody that joined in on the joint, man. And man, we just gonna continue to do it. We hope to see more people on the panel next weigh-in or conversation. So go ahead, Brash. Go ahead, take us on out, bro.
We're gonna take y'all out. This is an informal weigh-in. I just want to remind everybody what we're doing. It's an informal weigh-in. We got the official weigh-in date. Be on the lookout for the flyer. We got the actual debate. Be on the lookout for that information. Also, I think the two debaters handled themselves very, very well. Based on the format, it makes me a lot more comfortable with it. Thank y'all for coming out. Y'all have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
the subject. Evolution of revolution, we ain't done yet. Laying flat like Sanchez, this a bomb threat. I know my flow like Angozi. Source up and show me, homie. You shut up and mute up a moment. The mad scientist, I'm knowing all the components. We own it, and we gon' off it if it's pseudo. You do know we don't entertain that keyboard judo. That big Bobby banger out of Baltimore. Done it all, shop before. Sold a little something, but I taught you more than your average teacher. I had to reach you at your level to bring you up. No devil can never beat you. With precision of a magi, the information supplied by some guys get debunked on live. CK and Juju, I chill in the cut. But if you boys wanna fade, then I'm chefing you up. I organize live, the beats are disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers, space age Africans, back again. An organized lie, the beats are disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers, space age Africans, tapping in. I always been fly, that's an actual omen. You can catch me in the sky, ask Anthony Bowman. He see me with his telescope, I was actually floating off some good kush. The Sabio is actually growing. See, Gullah Gullah and Kent is where the money gets spent. Them boys got some books that cost as much as you rent. The second verse should be smash Rockwell, but I rock well. Underground like Sumerian Rockwells. In the ring like I'm the rock whale. Hell, create a different wave that can rock whales. Hell, shit swell like lunar tides. My entendres off Gandra to who describe. Euthanize foolish guys. Scholastically, haphazardly. Turn your camera on and look me in my eyes. And please do subscribe. 8 to 80, blind, cripple, or crazy. You in for a new surprise. It's DQ, a organized lie. The beats are disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers, space age Africans, back again. An organized lie. The beats are disorganized truth every time. Kudos, who those niggas? Decorated pseudo killers, space age Africans, tapping in.